MFTV, MFTV, shining truth the light. MFTV, 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 shining truth the light. MFTV, MFTV, shining truth light. Shining truth light. Shining truth light. Shining truth light. MFTV, 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 shining truth the light. MFTV, 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 shining truth the light. MFTV. Oh yeah! Now we freedom TV, where truth is clear and free. Elevator, we call it out with facts and transparency. Tune in, stay strong, let's fight for what's right. Tune in, stay strong, trying to fight. MFTV, 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 shining truth the light. MFTV, 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 shining truth the light. Now here we call it out with facts and transparency. Tune in, stay strong, let's fight for what's right. Tune in, stay strong, trying to fight. MFTV, 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 shining truth the light. MFTV, 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 shining truth the light. MFTV, 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 shining truth the light. MFTV, MFTV, shining truth light. Shining truth light. Shining truth light. Shining truth light. MFTV, 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 shining truth the light. MFTV, 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 shining truth the light. MFTV. Oh Now we freedom TV, where truth is clear and free. Elevator, we call it out with facts and transparency. Tune in, stay strong, let's fight for what's right. Tune in, stay strong, trying to fight. MFTV, 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 shining truth the light. MFTV, 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 shining truth the light. Now here we call it out with facts and transparency. Tune in, stay strong, let's fight for what's right. Tune in, stay strong, trying to fight. MFTV, 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 shining truth the light. MFTV, 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 shining truth the light. MFTV, 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 shining truth the light. MFTV, MFTV, shining truth light, shining truth light, shining truth light, shining truth light. MFTV, 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 shining truth light, shining truth light. MFTV, MFTV, shining truth light, MFTV. Oh Now we bring you TV, where truth is clear and free. Elevator, we call it out with facts and transparency. Tune in, stay strong, the fight for what's right. Tune in, stay strong for the fight. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light. Now here we call it out with facts and transparency. Tune in, stay strong, let's fight for what's right. Tune in, stay strong, join the fight. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light. MFTV, MFTV, shining truth light. Shining truth light. Shining truth light. Shining truth light. MFTV, 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 shining truth light. Shining truth light. MFTV, MFTV, shining truth light. MFTV. We call it out with facts and transparency. Tune in, stay strong, the fight for what's right. Tune in, stay strong for the fight. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light. Now here we call it out with facts and transparency. Tune in, stay strong, let's fight for what's right. Tune in, stay strong, join the fight. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light. MFTV, MFTV, shining truth light. Shining truth light. Shining truth light. Shining truth light. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light. MFTV. Oh, yeah. We call it out with facts and transparency. Tune in, stay strong, the fight for what's right. Tune in, stay strong, trying to fight. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Hello, hello. So, give me a second to turn this down. I'm just getting all the live stream dialed in, the Zoom call link for the Elections Commission, which starts in 6 minutes. We're going to hop on the Brave link. We're not going to hop on the... yeah, the Brave link, dang it, I canceled that again. The Brave link is also simulcasting. We'll be simulcasting the Zoom call, but we'll be able to like kind of mute the Zoom call or just talk in between. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm shooting for, at least. We'll see how well it goes. Yeah, and I'll get like the YouTube link and all of that. You already have the Zoom call link, or well, I guess you don't need it. You just need the Brave link if you want those. Yeah, we don't want extra feedback, right? Let's see. Yeah, I mean microphone feedback, that is. Yeah, unlike the Elections Commission, the feedback they don't want is a different kind. Elections Commission meeting starting. Okay, I'll see you there in a second. It's already running. All right. We call it out with facts and transparency. Tune in, stay strong, the fight for what's right. Tune in, stay strong, trying to fight. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light.
Recording in progress.
Tune in, stay strong, let's fight for what's right. Tune in, stay strong, try to fight. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light. MFTV, 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 shining truth to light. MFTV, MFTV, shining truth light. Shining truth light. Shining truth light. Shining truth light. MFTV, 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 shining truth light. MFTV, 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 shining truth light. MFTV. facts and transparency. Tune in, stay strong, let's fight for what's right. Tune in, stay strong, let's fight.
You are in the room. Can I have you test? Perfect. I see video. Let's do audio next.
Hello.
All right, perfect. Loud and clear. Thank you. Hi, Commissioner Osterkamp. I see video is working. Let's do an audio check.
Yep, I'm here.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good morning. We'll establish
Commissioner Andrion.
Here.
Commissioner Kushni.
Here.
Commissioner Kam.
Here.
Commissioner Kawada is excused. Commissioner McAdam.
Yeah.
Commissioner Osterkamp.
Here.
Commissioner Papalimu.
Here.
Commissioner Young.
Here.
Okay, and Chair Curtis.
Here.
All right, Chair, there is a quorum.
Thank you. So today's agenda, we're going to have Mr. Ching explain to us the PIG task force outline. Peter Young and Lindsay Cam will explain the report from the PIG. We'll accept public testimony, 3 minutes each to make their points. The discussion will be among the commission. I'll do the same format with the 3 minutes for each commissioner to make their points. And we'll rotate by island from Big Island to Hawaii, and we'll rotate that every 3 minutes until we're exhausted. So I'd ask Jordan Ching to explain to us the PIG task force laws and outline, why we're having a meeting today.
Thank you, Chair. And so just briefly, as we all know, we're here today to hear the presentation of Commissioner Young's Permitted Interaction Group report and his recommendations on that report. So this is all subject to HRS Section 92-2.5 relating to permitted interactions. And just so that, just reacquaint where we're at right now. So the PIG was formed initially at our, I believe it was in the March meeting. And now what we're here to do is to hear the findings and recommendations from the PIG, and just based on the requirements of that, of both OAP guidance as well as the law. So what will happen is that the PIG will present the report, present their findings and recommendations, and after that, any discussion and decision making on the PIG is required to be done at a subsequent meeting. And after the PIG presents its report, it's effectively dissolved. So there's no further interactions outside of board meetings after this meeting. So that's kind of just a summary of where we're at. So again, one more time. So today we're going to hear the report, hear the findings and recommendations. Any discussions and deliberations will need to be done at a later meeting.
Who is this guy?
And this is to allow the public to hear the report and adjust it so that they can provide
No more
informed
meetings
comments
after
at the next duly noticed meeting.
Jordan Ching.
Thank you. Jeffrey, can we see your face? Please and thank you. Commissioner Osterkamp, can we see your attendance? So I would ask Peter Young to present his report and findings, and Lindsay will have a chance to.
Good morning, everybody. First of all, we all have survived the tsunami yesterday. I hope that your area was not inundated and that you came out of it safe and sound. Our prayers are with those who were affected directly. So I just wanted to throw that out. The second thing I want to just say to everybody here is that it was really an honor to kind of join up with my colleagues, Lindsay and Anita, to dive into this issue. And I just want to publicly thank both of them for putting in lots of time and lots of conversation, debate, if you will, and to come to this report and so forth. We have received written testimony that I've read already, and I'm genuinely pleased with kind of the thrust of what people are sending in, and hopefully we'll hear the same from participants today. So we began by forming the PIG. It consisted of myself, a chair and a commissioner, Anita Aquino, who is a member, and a commissioner at the time. She has since resigned her commission position. And then Lindsay Cam, who was the citizen member of the PIG and has now been appointed as a elections commission commissioner. So congratulations to Lindsay. So we definitely had the spread of opinion and thought in terms of diving into all the facts and figures. Our report is fairly straightforward, at least we think it is. The complaints regarding the chain of custody and election result discrepancies on Kauai, I think, are valid. And I think our contention, which we will talk about later, is verbiage used. It's explanations that were not forthcoming, but we'll get into some details there. We were concerned that the clerk, in terms of HAR 3177453B, in terms of second bullet here, there were no logs or records complying with this received from the County of Hawaii, the PIG. Now, again, I'm asking that people understand that it may be forthcoming. It may have been lost in the mail, no pun intended, but we did not receive it. The count, based on scans of ballot envelopes into the statewide voter registration system, is not reconciled with any manual counts, is not verifiable. Again, we're talking about verbiage here, and in fact, the Elections Commission and the County of Kauai may be able to come back and say, no, here, look here. We didn't see that. The number of mail ballots increased from the number collected, 26,000 and change, with some rejected, to a final number of 2775, which was officially reported to state. The problem here is that there was no plausible explanation for the increase that was offered. And that's where, again, we find that the communications, I think, completely broke down. There may be, in fact, a viable path for the 600 plus votes to have been cast aside. We didn't get that explanation, and we were genuinely disappointed in the process. Continuing on with the report, I do want to highlight a couple of things. And by the way, I'm going to have Commissioner Cam speak on behalf of the committee also, the PIG. What we received from the County of Kauai was the following. Any perceived inconsistency or correction within the manual hand counts of returned identification envelopes is irrelevant. I repeat, is irrelevant to the official election results, as they do not represent the official count. This is the thing that I think caught all three of our kind of ears and eyes, was the use of the word irrelevant. We all can look it up in the dictionary, and I think that we can all agree that using the word irrelevant then negates kind of everything but that last number of 27,000 and change. And what we were looking for was a full-on explanation of how you got to 26,000 and change to 27,000. That's all we were asking. Step by step, where things were discarded or pushed aside. And then, oh yes, we got to 27,000. But they didn't use this word once in responding to the pig. They used it 4 different times, telling us that the process up to the official count for the state was irrelevant. And we didn't think, regardless of how we individually thought, collectively, we were very put off by the word irrelevant because, again, I'm repeating myself, but it bears repeating that the word irrelevant then kind of negates or exacerbates many of the issues that have been brought up, right or wrong. It's the word, I think, that really has confounded lots and lots of people here. Our recommendations at the end were hashed out over several sessions of the PIG. We want to make sure that we can get, we're requesting some official audits at the county level and state level. We'd like to hold a hearing collectively where we bring the parties all together, sitting at, around the big table. And then we'd like to make some recommendations in terms of just simple procedural kinds of things. First and foremost, we understand that official observers are volunteers. And that in some cases, county by county, they may not have, or there may not be enough official observers to cover all the areas which people are talking about in the last few meetings. With that said, we want to make sure that official observers, assuming that we can get larger numbers in the future, are allowed at the various stages of this process so that we don't have the kinds of finger pointing that we saw or that we've been hearing about from several folks in the past. At this point, with the PIG being dissolved, I just want to reiterate that it was a wonderful exercise for the 3 of us. We had many really good discussions, and we're willing to take some questions, but I want to turn it over to Lindsay for some follow-on.
Thank you, Peter. I just think it's worthy to spend 5 minutes maybe reading the recommendations out loud, because we want to underline them, and regardless of how we got here, this is what we think should happen next. And first of all is to get some straight answers and accountability, if possible, from the state and county officials. So A, from the county, request an official audit of ballot envelopes from the collection points to the transfer to the county center. That does not exist. From the state, request an official audit to confirm that the state has 27,075 mail-in paper ballots in its possession. C, hold a hearing to address the state and county elections officials about how the total number of mail-in ballots counted on Kauai grew to 27,075. This is in keeping with 3-170-9. The Elections Commission may convene a public hearing to receive evidence and to solicit public comment concerning the investigation. Such a public hearing will be held within a reasonable time after the Elections Commission has completed its investigation. So we're hoping that that would be coming up before too long. Equally important is trying to put some changes in place for the elections to come. So request that efforts be made to modify the administration of elections in the future and change the rules to ensure that counties keep an accurate official daily count of ballot envelopes collected and received and publish a summary of the same. Any discrepancies between manual hand count and official count be explained and attached to all summary statements of an election. This is not irrelevant. A little side note, it turns out that Kauai has the best records of all 4 counties, but they are woefully inadequate. But the other Big Island is off. Maui has none. Oahu has none. B, allow official observers to be present for collection of ballot envelopes from ballot boxes and the sign off on the numbers recorded. At this time, just so you know, the law has specified that official observers be in the counting center, but not at the counties. That is up to the counties at this point. And if they let you come and observe, it's like as a courtesy. It's they're not required to do that. And so we think that there should be official observers present all the way along. Allow official observers to be present for all steps of signature verification and sign off on results. D, counties keep an official record of the number of ballot envelopes that do not pass signature verification each day.
We're doing the Elections
publish a
Commission
chart
Zoom call right now.
summarizing
Is it
those
super
numbers.
urgent? I'm on a podcast.
Finally, that counties keep
All right,
an
let me call you
official
back in a couple
account
hours.
of ballot
Sorry.
envelopes
All right, bye.
transported to the
Bye.
county centers and publish those counts. These counts should be included in any manual hand count versus official count discrepancy reports that are attached to any election summary report. This is our job. Our job is to
Get it
assess
right.
how elections went and establish new policies, whether that's by sending them to the legislature or whatever. But this is our job, is to see if it all
Can you
adds
hear me, Andrew?
and
Yes.
to,
Can you hear me?
if not, make sure that changes.
Dude, it sounds really good.
Does it?
So
Clear. It's super
that's
clear.
that's what we're up to.
Are you
It's
able to hear me?
undeniable that there were fewer envelopes.
Yes, I can hear all of them. I can hear
ballots.
You can hear them
counted.
and
Miss
me.
Cat. Yeah.
Okay.
The
Yeah,
And
because
people
I'm
Joe's-
muted for them, but okay, I wanted to make
deserve
sure
an
I'm unmuted for you.
explanation
Yeah, and then Joe's on top of my computer.
Thank you,
I put in
Lindsay. And
Kili
thank
for
you,
governor
At this
Nice.
time,
of
we'll
Hawaii.
open for public
Nice,
testimony.
nice.
It's my first time ever on one of these election meeting
Here's
things.
the
So.
first one with their raised hands. And please keep your points succinct and do not repeat yourself. Got 3 minutes, and please make your points within those 3 minutes.
Hi, Chair. Let me go ahead and just read some instructions before the first testifier. So if you would like to testify, please click raise hand under reactions on Zoom. If you are joining us by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand. When your name is called, you will receive a notification requesting you to unmute your microphone. Please promptly accept the request. If you're experiencing technical difficulties and are unable to unmute your microphone, we will move on to the next testifier and return to
Are
at a
you able
later
to see the
time.
chat on the
We
YouTube,
ask
Kelly?
that you clearly
I'm
state
able to
your
see
first
the
and last
chat on
name
Brave. I
and
haven't looked on
testimony
YouTube
so
yet
that
right
your
now,
name is properly recorded.
but Brave is
Lastly, Chair to ensure that
definitely
we have
syncing
sufficient
in with
time to
the
hear all of the
commission's meeting.
testimony.
Okay.
Each testifier will have 3 minutes to testify. Once your time has expired, you'll
maybe
be
because
asked
I
to
opened
conclude
it in
your
the browser.
remarks.
I'm moving it
The
over to
first
the
testifier is Nolan
YouTube app
Chang,
now.
followed by Judith Mills Wong.
Look at a word.
Mr. Chang.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Aloha, Chair Curtis and esteemed members of the Election Commission. My name is Nolan Chang. I'm the Hawaii Republican Party National Committee man. It is with a mix of delight and shock that I join you today to provide testimony based on the investigative report into the Kauai County 2024 electoral system. We have long known of the inherent problems within this system, and it is with great satisfaction that I see the Election Commission finally taking action to audit the electoral process after a long hiatus. The findings of the independent investigative team, as detailed in the report dated July 13, 2025, come as no surprise to many of us. However, the revelation of the truth is a moment of vindication that I am grateful to witness. I extend my heartfelt kudos to the investigative panel for their integrity, neutrality, and honest reporting on all of the discrepancies discovered during their thorough investigation. Your report highlights critical issues, including the lack of compliance with HAR 3 TAC 177 TAC 453B by the County of Kauai, the unverifiable counts in the statewide voter registration system, and the unexplained increase in mail-in ballots from, I think it was 26,630 something to a little over 27,000. Now, these findings underscore the urgent need for action. And while I commend the investigative team for their work, the most crucial step now is to implement the corrective actions recommended. The report calls for official audits, public hearings, and modifications to election administration to enhance transparency and accountability. It is imperative that these recommendations are not just acknowledged, but actively pursued. A significant part of this problem lies in the Office of Elections and its manager, Mr. Nago, who must be held accountable for the results of the audit and implementation of the corrective actions. It is my firm belief that action must be taken to discipline
or just fire him. Yeah, Andrew.
Yeah, or maybe try him for treason.
Can
we try that?
Of our
Yeah. What about sedition?
remain at risk.
I love
In
Nolan
conclusion, I
Chang, man.
urge
This
the
guy's
Election
solid.
Commission to move forward with urgency and resolve. And let us not allow this opportunity for reform to slip away. Mahalo for your attention and commitment to the republic principles of our state. I rest.
Thank you, Mr. Chang.
He's a good speaker.
The next
Yeah.
testifier is Judith Mills Wong, followed
Straight
by
to the point.
Representative Shimizu.
Good morning. I'm Judith Mills Wong. I'm speaking for the League of Women Voters. First of all, I'd like to express my thanks to the Commission, to the Permitted Interaction Group, and to the participants in this study. We appreciate the professional and constructive way that it was conducted. I'm speaking only to the recommendations regarding administration of future elections. The League endorses the use of official observers in all of the stages of ballot collection, verification of signatures, and counting. We also recognize that and the additional record keeping and posting of information is going to be burdensome especially on the county clerk's office, and so we would call for the state to appropriate funds to assist and provide the resources needed for those changes. We have submitted written testimony, so I don't need to continue anymore. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wong.
The next testifier is Representative Shimizu, followed by Shelby Billionaire.
Oh, Shelby.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Representative Garner Shimizu here. First of all, I want to thank the PIG members, Chair Peter Young, and participants for your very important work that you endeavored and reported to us. I have to leave for travel and I can't stay for the whole meeting, but I wanted to be here and show my presence and my support. I want to thank you, Chair Curtis, and all of the commissioners for the very important, critically important work that you are all doing. And I hope you realize how important your work is. Also want to thank all of the public the dedicated public who tirelessly and dedicated to be part of the process and seek answers. I just want to let all of you know that I'm committed to be part of this efforts, and I will do my best to try and be part of getting answers to improve transparency and accountability, as well as trying to enjoin as many of my colleagues as possible. That's pretty much what I wanted to say. You know, there's much work that needs to be done going forward.
You can raise your hand, Andrew.
Again, I want to commit to be part of the process.
This
and
guy is the
encourage all
only
of you
one
to,
who came over to Ralph Cushing and handed
keep
him his
striving for
card
truth
at the
and
convention
justice.
that I
And,
saw. Diamond
I just
Garcia,
thank
Brenton
you all
Awa,
again. Mahalo.
none
and
of
God
those
bless.
guys came over and
you,
like offered
Representative.
help to Ralph. This was the only one.
The next
But
testifier
Elijah Pierrick
is
did
Shelby
agree on
Billionaire,
video
followed
to
by
help.
Andy
So we'll
Crossland.
see if he shows up.
All right. All right.
Can you guys hear me? Am I coming through?
Hey.
All right, good to see you guys all. I did send my testimonials already. I sent 2, so I'm not going to repeat what I already sent you guys. So what we do, I want to say thank you guys for the pig, the oink oink, the puah. You guys did a good job. They got 661 votes over. The only logical reason, if you think like Sherlock Holmes, how did the extra votes get in there when on Kauai you guys did the best job? You had the people to collect the numbers, the votes from the box to the check-in, and it matched it up. However, it seems like the only way to slip it is through electronically. There's 661 over. That's where the numbers get a bump up. You check the meeting minutes. It's going to go over. Scott Nago, hopefully, is on the call to answer some of the questions.
He's not.
The
He's not on
commissioner,
the call.
because it leads me to more
He
questions.
looked like
such
he
as the
was
Big Island.
stoned in
How
the
the heck
like
did you get
meeting a few times back.
19,042 votes?
Nago?
Yeah,
Why
like he smoked 4
661?
joints,
I guess
man.
you foul-pawed that. But 19,042,
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
and you even see that
Yeah,
with
but
people
if
healed,
you're on the
it doesn't
job,
make
like
any
for
sense
the
when they
people,
have
then
a
it's
PO
kind of
box,
wrong
you
with
can't even
that.
get them to sign
Getting
the
that
paper.
whack.
I don't know. I'll be stoned if I'm on the
Something
job
sounds
for the
very
people.
screwy with me. You know,
Yeah,
you're
but
a
not
hot-
that
what
whacked.
current commissioners
No,
are
I don't
doing,
know. I would just.
the pig rules.
I'm
if you
cannabis friendly, so
whatever you're doing to
I
dissolve
know
it,
I barely. You know, I know we have
Well, me
cannabinoid
too, but I'm
systems.
not like getting stoned out of my
the
mind
decisions.
working
Wasn't
like
this pig created
at
back
my
in
job.
March? when
I
it's
think
supposed
it's a
to be
combination. I think these guys do more
back
than
on the Big
stoning
Island?
up.
Weren't they all supposed to
You're
have
right
results?
about
Because we got
that.
more people on the Big Island. They'll be giving the calls since our last meeting to see what the heck's up. So I want to know what the results are going to be. I want to see the full audit for all of them. Apparently, we don't have proper chain of custody or any track records for Honolulu County or Maui County. Or it sounds really weird, but you guys caught Kauai and Big Island. We can only talk on the agenda items. And if people did Google the HR 3-177, the Office of Elections Commissions, you guys can have the certain rules pursuant to HRS 92-2.5. But you can also follow HRS 1-1. You guys are breaking the Constitution for Article 2, Section 4 every time in the primary ballot when you guys force someone to choose
He's correct.
a party first before they can choose whoever they want. And most
I
of the ballots
raised my hand.
don't get counted. So there's some weird.
They do. They break it on the ballot, on the primary
what's
ballot.
going down.
2022, they did it too.
Through, like Brother
Because I
Noah
was on
said,
it.
sure you're
And I
gonna
have
hear
the ballot.
and Jimmy Detwire. A lot of
Oh,
people
nice.
follow
They have a
me.
little timer
We're
there.
going to maximize our 3 minutes to reach out to all of you guys to hopefully get results, some real action, and not just some BS blue sky. The Civil Beat put the article. There's stuff out there. We know there's election fraud. Now, what are we going to do about it? You can choose to be on the Pono side with the people, and we can change things because it's not your guys' fault. You guys didn't count the votes, and then we can start pointing the fingers in the right directions, getting real accountability, so we can give a chance for our future kids to say, hey, we didn't F the pooch, but we can let these kids have a decent shot if they want to run for office, run for mayor, run for city council, pays 127 grand. It's definitely better than volunteering, and being a cop actually pays more than a senator or rep, pays 78 grand. Representative would make 70 grand. That's it. Peace out. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you very much.
Good job, Shelby. Good job.
The next testifier is Andy Crossland, followed by Jennifer Hunt.
Aloha, Commission. You can hear me?
Aloha, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So first off, I just wanted to share my appreciation for the chair of this commission for setting up this pig. I also wanted to share my appreciation for the chair of the pig and the members of the pig that conducted this very important work. Unfortunately, I think we would have all liked to see the pig investigate this and find answers that would explain all of the potential discrepancies and things like that. But what we found actually is that it confirms a lot of what many of us have been saying for years.
Yep.
And it really underscores the need for the commissioners to hold the people accountable that are responsible for these discrepancies, and to really get answers for this, because it's my understanding based on the report that there were questions that were left unanswered or wholly inaccurately were answered. And so, this is the first investigation that's actually been conducted in 9 years. That's when the last investigation was conducted by this commission. And it's part of the duties of this commission to investigate complaints. And so it's kind of shocking that this is the first one that has happened, but it's great that it has happened. And unfortunately, like I said,
it's 9 years. You think about the last, since
many
2020.
of the things that we have
These
thought
guys
have been
are all
wrong
doing
for
lip
many years.
service, dude.
It
Pigs
also
can't fly.
confirms that Scott Nago is willfully in violation of Hawaii law. Now, he can delegate to the counties, and he has, but it's ultimately his responsibility. And this lack of transparency and unverifiable chain of custody is something that we really have to deal with. And Scott Nago is ultimately responsible for this. And I do find it very concerning that the county's manual hand count is considered irrelevant to the outcome. I mean, that is just for everybody to just, sit and ponder that for just a few seconds. I mean, that's just a shocking statement there that everybody should really consider. There should be no circumstance which there is not an explanation for a county's manual count not matching the state's count. And right now there has been no justifiable or reasonable explanation for that. And so transparency
2020, 2022, and 2024, right?
To restoring confidence in our elections. And because Scott Nago is responsible for this, he really should be considered by the commission to be removed as a chief election officer as an at-will employee, or at the very least significantly reprimanded or disciplined for his failure to hold his own county clerks responsible. And to conclude, I wanted to let the commission know that I fully support and I reinforce all of the recommendations made by the Permitted Interaction Group. And I look forward to seeing some follow through on this. And I hope that this does not just get brushed under the rug. And I really want to see some action on this. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you, Mr. Crossland.
The next testifier is Jennifer Hunt, followed by Jamie Detweiler.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much for holding this investigation and the follow-up with it. What I wanted to point out
all
was
these people should have their camera on that are talking.
Last few meetings, I had submitted
maybe the chair is blocking them. I just got a message saying they're the only ones, the admin are the only ones who can see my camera.
Fully.
I can see your camera.
Early on in the election,
right, because you're on this thing, right? But like in the Zoom call, nobody else can.
What was getting picked up every day.
Oh, is it because you raised your hand?
And those
no, because they have it in focus mode where it only shows the screen they want to show.
Instagram.
Oh.
But if there was a
so their agenda item is all we can see in the Zoom call.
Like someone forgot that this was
no, but I can see you in the Zoom call.
Oh yeah, because that's through my own portal, right? So Jen can probably see herself, but I don't think she can see
whereas
anybody
I
else.
don't think that
interesting.
Maui County.
I don't know. Andy just had his face on there though. Maybe she's just not.
I think they should show their faces if they're going to talk.
Responsible for this because I do feel like this is a state Office of Elections issue.
Okay, yeah, I'm seeing other faces
even
too.
though they
Some
do
people
defer
have
to the
them on.
counties for some things. Every time I would
But those
go back
are just
and
their
forth
admin.
with trying to find some information, I would always be referred back to the election office. So I really do think this is top down.
I love Ralph.
We go through this many times, and I'm very happy that there was this investigation about these discrepancies.
Jeffrey
but the fact
Osterkamp
that Maui doesn't have any records at all, it really does put the question: is where would these ballots be coming from? I mean, if this was a bank account, that would be really important to a lot of people, I believe, if there was missing money or the money wasn't accurately counted or that account wasn't properly, accounted for. So what I would like to propose is that we continue with these investigations, getting to the bottom of how it could possibly be, based on the fact that counting ballots in an election, if we're going mail-in ballot wise, is the most important thing to make sure every one of those ballots are accounted for. And so there doesn't seem to be a good explanation so far as to why that would be the case. And it is not irrelevant. In my opinion, I think we need to go back to the paper ballots, one-day voting, because we're spending a lot of energy on other things when we could just simplify it again. And one last thing, there is Title II 11-154, which is records, etc. That is the law that says there has to be official observers present anytime ballots are handled. I did ask to be part of those teams going out, and as well as signature verification, and I was denied. I was an official observer that was denied those two things. So we have a lot of people wanting to serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hunt.
The next testifier is Jamie Detweiler, followed by Tara Rojas.
Hey, I know both of these ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Aloha, thank you for this opportunity to testify. I too would like to commend the Permitted Interactive Group that conducted I'll just call it investigation in Kauai County. And I would also like to take this opportunity for the Hawaii County
hand icon there. Let's see if they're gonna censor
get
me.
the ball rolling on their actions.
I already put it up there at the
because we'd
chat
like to see the results of Hawaii County.
I didn't
I
realize
also want to echo
no one could see it.
what Jennifer just said about serving as an official election observer. I served for Honolulu County as an official observer, and I too asked to witness signature verification, chain of custody, and was told that they do not allow that. We were able to come back if we made an appointment to watch the signature verification via a closed circuit TV. That is just unacceptable. And I would like, I stand on my written testimony where I cite the HRS and, sorry.
Oh, what happened there?
Probably got a phone call.
Next testifier.
Next testifier is Tara Rojas, followed by Brett Colbis.
Ms. Rojas.
Okay. Aloha, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, one sec.
We got 100 people on X watching, 109.
All that did the
very good.
Bring this to our attention. And I want to put on the record numbers and the fact that basically we need full audit of every island, not just Kauai. We need transparency, integrity, and we need lawful elections. And I want to also put first, before the numbers, that is Kauai County, committing fraud on the public regarding keeping these chain of custody records and just the discrepancy in general. So if in Kauai, there were 26,414 mail ballots received and 27,075 million votes certified by the state, how do you account for then the 661 unexplained ballots? And the actual number would be 1,486 real error discrepancy count. In Kauai, the council race was decided by 108 votes. So this makes a huge impact, and different results would have been the results. So one entry, for example, was changed from 0 to 2004, and postal law showed that only 2,279 ballots were delivered that day, which means there are 725 unaccounted for ballots. 725 unaccounted ballots for just one entry. On another day, the count was bumped from 88 to 188 with no explanation. So that's 100 more. Here's the kicker, that Kauai issued certificates of election on December 2nd, 2024 even though the Supreme Court didn't rule on the contest until December 20th, 2024, a direct violation of HRS 11155. Kauai didn't allow observers to verify how many ballots were transferred from the county to the state. This allowed ballots to be over-recorded. So the so-called audit of mail-in votes relied only on electronic images, not physical ballots. So this also allowed ballots to be over-reported because after collections, there was no physical inventory check. So the Hawaii State Supreme Court ruled that Kauai's records could not be relied on. And again, this is just one example of the fraud and corruption in Hawaii. So all in all to say, this needs to be corrected ASAP. Mahalo.
Thank you, Ms. Rojas.
The next testifier is Brett Colbus, followed by Andrew Aker.
Aloha, Chair.
Oh, you're gonna get on.
Yeah, baby.
My name is Brett Colbus. I'm a Navy veteran living in Eva Beach. I had a couple of concerns with the presentation about the observers. I don't know if they reviewed the law on observers, but each county, each political party is allowed to have observers at the voting service centers per the law. And the state elections office collects the names of people that want to be considered official observers. Having not received or did anything with Honolulu County, I found it irresponsible to say that Honolulu County has no information or no guidance. They, as somebody who has dealt with the Honolulu County clerk regarding the elections and have been at the voting service centers and have watched the process and have been at the county center, at the state capitol and watched that process. From my point of view, everything that was done at Honolulu County level or in Honolulu County was within the requirements of the law. Are there things that can be changed? Absolutely. The ability to have observers at the signature verification location without having to go through the state, that should be part of the part of the issues. I think one of the things you need to do is get the law changed so that, or the city, start with the city and county charter, because the charter is coming up, they're doing charter amendments, that requires the counties to provide a pre-election report to you and a post-election report to you of the things that they have done, things that are going on, and what they are doing. It would behoove you, because a lot of this, and I agree with one of the previous speakers, when you talk to the counties, you get the runaround. They say, oh, that's a state thing. When you talk to the state, they say, oh, that's a county thing. That's the proverbial roundabout that everybody has to go through, unless you know somebody in one of those locations. And it's all about relationships with those people to find out what the real answers are, and due diligence on each of us as voters and citizens to understand our laws and how the process works. I yield. Mahalo.
Thank you, Mr. Colbus.
The next testifier
Let's go, Andrew.
is Andrew Aker, followed by Mary Healy.
Hi, guys. Andrew Aker here from Maui Freedom TV, disenfranchised private person here on the INA with you guys. How can I follow such eloquent speakers who are just so mellifluous with their words? Maybe I can do it by saying what everybody's actually thinking. Pigs can't fly, guys. You're just going to piss off the pig. So, our friend BJ Penn, right? He said the will of the people is the law. And I think it was Ronald Reagan who said that when the government fears the people, then yeah, then things are going to turn out better. So, I mean, volunteer, employee, yeah, I mean, now's a good time to turn a new leaf, guys, and start blowing the whistle, because people like me, you know, we're not going to stop investigating you, and we're not going to stop working and working and working, and our kids are going to do it, and their kids are going to do it. Like, we just don't stop, because I will live and die for liberty, live and die for this. So find it in your hearts, guys. I appreciate that the pig happened, but we need to see some actual results. And plausible deniability is such a great thing. And I know how the masters of plausible deniability juggle and dance, but the dance is coming to an end, my friends. So yeah, and I really, really do not appreciate censorship. So I created a little live stream simulcast on X and on YouTube. You can go to tinyurl.com/hichat808 and join the live chat, because we are censored here in the Zoom call. We can't chat with each other. We can't share information. And with this Zoom focus mode, you can only see the screen. Can anybody even see my screen right now? I don't know. Is it blocked? I guess we'll find out. Anyway, I've said all I got to say. I love all of you, even the ones that I'm really pissed off at. I love you all. We can resolve this peacefully. We can resolve this lawfully. And it can be really nice, or it can be not so nice. But the choice is up to you guys. Aloha, ahui ho, malama pono.
Thank you, Mr. Aker.
Yes, sir.
The next testifier is Mary Healy, followed by Jamie Detweiler.
Hi, Mary Healy here. All the commissioners know me. I've been on these meetings for about a year now, trying to get accountability for the issues that I've seen with the Hawaii election system. I've called for Scott Nago in particular to be removed.
Remove him.
And it's always fallen on deaf ears. I rewatched the meeting from 2 weeks ago, and I couldn't help but notice the chair mocking other members of the committee.
I'm going to add Pikachu to Brave, if you don't mind, Kalei.
When they brought up that they would like to have it put on this meeting, whether or not they can remove the chair, which has already been brought up.
I got to just send him the link.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you don't have the votes. And how would you know that if, you know, the votes are coming from...
Can you also send it to my other phone in case this phone goes
so
off? And then I can just
your other phone? Yeah.
It just goes to show you that these reports, I'm very grateful. I should say this. I'm very grateful.
Joe's watching, so they can't see him, but he's watching from my computer.
Yeah, other people are texting me saying that they can see
we've known
the
that there's
screen.
discrepancies, especially with the universal mail-in ballot system throughout the world. It's been known that they are open to fraud. It's something that is just, it happened during COVID, and it needs to stop. And I'd just like to, you know, reiterate that Scott Nago needs to be removed, and however this commission can do that, that's for the benefit of the people and for the benefit of the state as a whole, because the amount of votes that are coming in are enough to sway the elections and put corrupt individuals in and remove the ability for the people to pick their representatives. So, you know, I just want to say that I just feel that at this time, I personally have seen you all violate the law. You know, the sunshine law was violated. That's in the October meeting, and nothing happened. And the counties are breaking the law also. And I want to see something happen because it's destroying the state of Hawaii. The exodus that's happening from Hawaii is directly on your shoulders. And as Commissioner Papalimo said, the only teeth this commission has is to look for a new chief elections officer and do it promptly. So thank you for hearing my testimony, and mahalo.
Thank you, Ms. Healy.
I don't know who she is, but she did good.
Yeah,
The
she
next
did good. I
testifier
recognize her name.
is Jamie Detweiler, followed by Tara Malia.
Detweiler. Oh, she's back. Yeah, she didn't finish.
Welcome
There's
back,
a Kiki
Jamie.
on there.
Aloha.
Yeah, I hope to hear from her. She's amazing.
Back up the island for big family reunions, lost connectivity. Where I left off was, holding people accountable to complete the pig for Hawaii County, and also to request a pig for Honolulu City Count as well as Maui County. We
Beautiful,
deserve
Jamie.
that
I
too.
love you.
There are problems with our chain of custody.
There
Things
are.
incomplete done. And again,
Did you get the Brave link on the other phone?
It's in the charger. Just
You're losing you
I'm like
again.
at like 40% on this phone, so
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that.
And you wanted to send it to Mageso, you said?
Oh no.
The next testifier.
Okay.
The next testifier.
administrative rules. That's what they're there for.
Maybe we could talk to Susie News. You know Susie?
Mahalo.
Thank you, Jamie.
I don't think so.
All right, the next
Yeah, she does some
testifier
good
is
work.
Tara Malia.
Is it surfing for Sana?
Aloha,
I don't know who
Kako.
Santa
My name
Surfing
is
is.
Tara Gregory. Can you hear me?
Maybe Susie is. I
Yes.
don't know.
All right,
She's on-
awesome. So I've been
in
on these
Hawaii.
meetings since 2023, and I'm currently the district chair for East Honolulu, Hawaii Kai, and also the regional vice chair for Hawaii Republican Party. So thank you for the time. First, I want to thank Mr. Ralph Kushney. Because of his diligence, this has been brought to light. I happened to look over the documentation, and I'm glad that the PIG finally acknowledges that these issues are issues that need to be addressed. But for me and the constituents that I talk to and the people that I know, acknowledgement is not enough. Earlier, someone said that we shouldn't point the fingers, but accountability requires names and the people that are responsible. So the public deserves to know who is actually responsible, because from the top down, starting with Scott Nago, he's the chief election officer. He certified results with unaccounted ballots and broke the chain of custody. He submitted altered records to the Supreme Court after the fact and dismissed the public's concerns. For the Big Island, John Henricks, 19,042 mail-in ballots were unaccounted for. USPS says one thing and then the office says another thing. So where are the transfer logs? Kauai, Jade Fountain, Tanigawa. She issued certificates of election before the legal challenge was resolved. Entry logs were falsified and there's no dates and no signatures.
Get
For
them,
Maui,
sister. Get them.
Kathy Kauhu,
Yeah.
no USPS pickup records, no Dropbox documentation, no transfer logs, just one unverifiable printout. And Oahu, Rex Quadia, under Glenn Takahashi, observers weren't even allowed to count envelopes. Instead, they counted trays, and then we're told to trust it. So this isn't an oversight. This is not a clerical error. This is systematic failure. It's neglect on purpose, and it's done with intent, and this is fraud. So I want to ask the commission, if you can get this down on documentation, what is the timeline for action? When will a full independent audit begin? When will subpoenas be issued for the chain of custody documentation? When will the counties be held to account for violating HRS 11-155 and HAR 3-177-453? I want to be on record in stating what this means according to the law. See, the violation is certifying results before reconciliation. That should be overturn of results. Missing or falsified chain of custody, that audit needs to be ordered. And because of fraud and public trust violation, public hearings need to be met. There's perjury, there's tampering. This is by law. And I just want to say in closing, I agree with Jennifer and
Andrew,
Jamie.
you have
There
the Zoom
needs
link you can send to
to
me
be
on
a
top of
one-day
this
voting.
phone. I have other people
And
that
there
want to get
are
on.
an abundance of people that want to be observers and
Wait,
involved
I couldn't
in this
hear you.
process. Mahalo for the time to speak.
Thank you.
You have the Zoom link for this call? I have other
yeah.
people that want to get on.
I just
The next
blasted it all
testifier
over. I
is
sent it to
Keilani
Telegram or
Cole,
where?
followed
Telegram
by
here.
Willing Christian.
On this phone.
Okay.
Aloha, my name is Keiki Laniho. Thank you for taking my testimony
Kiki.
today. I want to start by thanking the Permitted Interaction Group for looking into the Kauai County election. The fact that the concerns we raised months ago turned out to be valid shows how important it is to investigate every county in Hawaii to protect the integrity of our elections. And that brings me to the Hawaii County election, where I noticed several things that seemed off. In District 4, Precincts 1, 2, and 3, Senator Mazie Hirono and Representative Jill Tokuda each received hundreds more votes than Kamala Harris, which is very unusual in a presidential election. And on the Republican side, it was the opposite.
Ridiculous.
Trump received more votes than the GOP Senate and House candidates.
We're talking about the Kauai pig today.
Yes, and this
is her time.
this is
Shut
relevant.
up, Curtis.
Till this day, we still have no data for District 4, Precinct 4, and we're also missing precinct data for Districts 5 and 7. It's been 9 months since the election, and this is unacceptable. All of this points to serious issues in our election process. Considering Scott Nagel's history and the confirmed 600 ballot discrepancy in Kauai, I agree with Nolan and Andy. He should be removed. This election was clearly disorganized, and we need competent leadership in Hawaii. I also want to highlight the 19,042 ballot discrepancy in Hawaii County, where the state reported more ballots than the county. The same team that confirmed the Kauai issue identified this too. So I'd like to ask, where do we stand with the Hawaii County election? It's been 4 months since the Permitted Interaction Group was formed, and I think we all want answers. Lastly, I want to sincerely thank Commissioner Ralph Cushney for standing up for the people of Hawaii and bringing these discrepancies to light. The way that he's been treated by some of the board members and the article that Civil Beat wrote about him months ago is really disappointing, and I believe he deserves an apology, especially because we now know what he said turned out to be true. Mahalo.
Thank you, Ms. Ho.
Yeah, cakes.
The next testifier is Walling Christian, followed by Megeso William Dennis.
Good morning. Can you folks hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity. Sorry, this morning I was in an appointment, so I just got in my vehicle. I appreciate that we have this pig for Kauai. I believe it needs to be done for every county. Unfortunately, we hear all the numbers of the discrepancies of the numbers. And right now, because we're already in 2025, mid-2025, what I would like to see is that every county is performed on this investigative pig. I know it has to be separate. I understand that. But it needs to be set, and things need to change for the 2026 election. Months past, I had testified about the primary ballot, which was brought up by Shelby Billionaire on the Hawaii Constitution, Article 2, Section 4, where on the primary ballot, we have the issue of identifying yourself of what parties that you are going to be voting for. With this pig, I hope that that can be taken into effect as well with those that are in this pig. I appreciate Ralph Cushney. We did go to court with him to stand in support with him in Kauai in May of this year. I'm thankful that now we have an open door, that now we can see other counties is going to start being investigated as well. I think Honolulu County is it's going to be one of the biggest problems. Appreciate all of you for actually opening your ears to the people. I hope that not only you hear us, but you actually listen to us, and that you change this for the betterment, not only for those of us who are on here, and I heard someone say that for months, there's some of us that come on here for months. There's others that have been here longer. But this is for the future generation, guys, and that's what we're fighting for, because we can no longer deal with a corrupted state, a corrupted government, and a corrupted election. As far as Scott Nagel, he has failed at his job. I ask that this commission really think twice about having him remain on this, in this position. And one last thing I'd like to say, I do agree with Kikilani Ho. Ralph Cushney has been mistreated tremendously, and that needs to be addressed as well, and an apology needs to be made. I yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Good job, Waylon.
Yeah.
The next testifier is Megeso William
Let's
Dennis,
go, Megeso.
by Tara Rojas.
Megeso for mayor, 2026.
Aloha. My name is Megeso William Dennis.
And I thank the committee for this study. I support Ralph Kushner 100% in the claims that he brought before the commission, the courts, and the public. And I thank the public for their testimony today. I have 20 years experience in mark sense recognition technology for a Fortune 500 company. Listening to the testimony over time regarding the failure to do proper audits and equipment performance stems from the path for the need for mail-in ballots, which is the best tool for voter fraud and election interference. We need in-person, same-day voting with voter ID. Until then, I am requesting and advising Scott Yago and members who were involved in election interference in the 2020-22 elections resign immediately and lawyer up.
That's right, baby.
And
Love
the
it.
dishonoring of their oath. They have knowingly and willingly by their actions participated in the overthrow of the Democratic Republic under Title 18, Section 2385, and in support of the
Love you,
COVID-19
Margeso.
use of a bioweapon that infringed upon and usurped the rights of the people, resulting in crimes against humanity. We demand fair elections, and it's not worth keeping your job for money, position, or power. Put your family first, as you are just a number to those who deceive and control the process. Do the right thing to maintain your own morals, values, and principles. Resign today and whistleblow on your puppet masters.
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
2 minutes. That's all
Next
you needed.
testifier is Rojas, followed by.
She should be last after the others, as she's testified once already.
Okay, then we'll go with Susan Strom, followed by
Let's
Bob.
go, Susie.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's Susie
Hello
News.
and good morning. Can everyone hear
Okay,
me?
I didn't know her
Yes,
that
ma'am.
way.
This
I
is
know her as Susie
I'm a very
Strom.
concerned citizen. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak briefly. I also want to thank everyone for bringing us this far with the pig, but now we need to keep that momentum going and expand it. What I don't understand is the discussion of a premature dissolution of the pig. I believe we should have a pig committee operating on each island, every island or county that illustrates voter anomalies, and that those pigs continue to operate until full transparent resolution is achieved and there are full answers, full accountability. Ralph Kushner's continued testimonies have been just completely disregarded and, just on so many levels ignored. And, we really need someone powerful like that to step forth and help with us, with the people, to understand what's been going on, because this is outrageous. It's outrageous just witnessing the disregarding of the committee and their behavior towards these concerns that are hard data. And you've heard so much testimony of my colleagues before me, and I'm so grateful to see so many people come forward. As far as an audit, many constituents don't trust a county or internal audit for the obvious reasons. We need an external independent audit. It's really the only way to go. I understand the wheels of bureaucracy turn slowly, but we cannot afford to drag this out any longer. We need real momentum, and we need a simple remedy as far as paper ballots, voter ID. Obviously the machines are just a travesty. That's been proven time and time, not just in Hawaii, but all over the country. So really, there's simple resolutions. There's ways we can curtail this immediately, but also we need short-term results, not long-term results. We don't need to be dragging this out. We need accountability. And I also support this.
Yeah,
Scott
there's an
Nago
election
should
coming up.
step down or be dismissed from his position. He has represented us with total indifference and denial. And so I think it's really like that, get out of the way, get on board and step down, because we need resolutions. This cannot drag out any longer. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Strom.
The next testifier is Bob McDermott, and we have repeat testifiers Tara Rojas and Shelby Billionaire next.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Bob. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Hey, I want to thank all the commissioners. You have a very important job. You're duly appointed commissioners to look out for the public's interest. So I want to thank you for taking that very seriously. Also, I'd like to thank Mr. Kushner. His work is bulletproof. He has been ridiculed by certain corners of the community. He didn't deserve it. He does not speculate. I have asked him about his numbers. He doesn't speculate. He says, this is what I have. This is the data. That's it. He's the data guy. And finally, as a candidate, every vote is important. We had a race here about 2 miles from my house that was decided by about 9 votes. And it's a double recount. And how do you think that fella feels this morning who lost, knowing that on the beautiful, lovely Isle of Kauai, they were several hundred votes off? One can only imagine what Oahu looks like. 1988 Democratic primary in Kalihi was a tie. Romy Kachola and Connie Chung, a tie. So I think I made the case in recent history that every vote counts, and we owe it to those candidates to get the best count possible. And I thank Mr. Cushing for doing that. And any audit, I would humbly ask that you use paper ballots and not images. Images can be manipulated. Thank you very much. Aloha and God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. McDermott.
The next testifier is Tara Rojas, followed by Shelby Billionaire.
Aloha. My last comment regarding this indiscrepancy of the election votes account on Kauai. How can we, I just want to process and protocol, first of all. If all board commissioners are not, again, attentively listening, then you can step down, because that is not fulfilling the needs of the people. The people need commissioners who are listening to their concerns. So, for example, we appreciate, that you're understanding when Commissioner Papalimu had mentioned, she mentioned, the few moments that she needs to go off camera is because of her grandchild, which is understandable. You need to, one, I think, establish the protocol that all commissioners should be front and center at the camera. Where is Peter Young? Haven't seen him at all, his face, this whole meeting. Claire McAdam, is Claire McAdam, if she's gonna just always vote against the people and then not even have the decency and respect to come
Okay, thank you.
to the camera, we can see her
phone.
forehead. I mean, how is the trust of the community going to be taken seriously if you're not even showing your face to the camera? And so this is last meeting.
We're not the only ones calling it out, Andrew.
So process and
Tara's
protocol, you need to be
amazing.
front and center. And Chair, you need to call it out that all commissioners come on camera so that we can see that they're actually listening to the people's voice. And so going back to this, I mean, look, she's still not even there. We need to know that commissions are really there for the people. But you need to remove Scott Nagle. You need to have, again, this investigation for every island, for all of Hawaii Island. And accountability needs to happen.
Yeah, I'm doing it as an ad on Instagram.
Thank you, Ms. Rojas.
The next testifier is Shelby Billionaire, followed by Robin.
Shelby, do you have new points to mention?
Yes, I do, actually. So I want to thank you
Please.
all to come back in.
What a
If you guys
dick.
can hear me, thank you all. For last time we had the meeting, it was only 3 minutes because I had a lot of people call me after the meeting from Big Island. I wanted Jarek Maderos, Keone Painkiller. Some people didn't even know we had a meeting today to follow up, Chair Curtis. So a lot of people from the Big Island wanted accountability, but I know how you guys operate without it being on the agenda. And this pig is only supposed to be about Kauai. I wanted to give more time for them to come in because I know that work. They're in Hilo. I wanted people from the Big Island to chime in because if you guys do that 3 minute, 2 minute stuff, it's done. I'm definitely not
Just
going to
change the screen name for Joe to talk.
email. I just want to re-emphasize, I do not trust the President of the United States. I do not trust the FBI, the DOJ, CIA, NSA, FBI, or Honolulu Police County, because I did report the federal fraud crimes last year.
You're a little off topic.
Shut up,
So it's
Curtis.
still about this topic for your HR regarding the pig, because I reported all these crimes to the FBI. I did report this all to DOE, Department of Law Enforcement. I took everything that Ralph Kushner said, you guys said, and now we're actually having results.
Why do you always try to cut off Shelby? Shelby does all the freaking legwork and he gets to explain it.
Yeah, because he knows the truth and he can break it down.
And other
Yeah, well,
counties.
he's done the work.
19,042 ballots over on the Big Island. How the hell is that possible? You already confirmed 661. The public has seen a shift. Now you guys are actually helping out the public, what we've been calling out since years ago. Wallen Christian came on, all these other people. So I'm going to yield the rest of the time because I want to stall actually for Jarek, Keone, Pankillers, and more people from the neighbor islands to come onto the Zoom. Because last meeting, they were all on YouTube. We had 200-something people there. I'm going to tell you, it's very popular because you guys made the news. I was filming you guys on Instagram. The last testimony, the phone overheated. That's dead. I'm still filming you guys live on Facebook of the Zoom, of you guys, of me filming you. So yes, it's all going out there. We love you all. I'm
Get him, Shelby. That's exactly how we do it. We got oversight.
Mind fuck him, Shelby.
Future generations.
Get him.
Thank you. Thank you.
Curtis needs to calm down.
Next testifier is Robin, followed by Representative Diamond Garcia.
Oh, Garcia is going to show his face, huh?
Oh, he comes on in the middle of everything?
What's your full name?
Is that
Robin
Susie?
McCreary.
Thank you.
Hi.
What's
Robin
going on?
McFeary.
Is that us or them?
So,
Okay, that's them.
Wait. I would like to, number one, ask if I know a lot of people are not getting paid for this position, correct?
Yeah, we're volunteers.
Anybody? Okay, so I would like to ask anybody that doesn't, you're not getting paid for this. So I think you guys should step down, except for Ralph. Ralph is really fighting for the people. And I just feel
The other
that,
guy, too. There's one other guy in there.
It's just, you guys aren't being fair, and I want the paper ballots because I really think that's the only way to track it and make sure that
It's not the only way to track it. There's the
everybody
blockchain.
is, everything's
These people
being
aren't
fair.
ready for all of that
So
stuff.
thank you very much.
You got that
Thank
right.
you, Robin.
Hawaii is not ready for blockchain. I'm
The
trying to
next
help.
testifier
but it
is
takes time.
Representative Diamond Garcia, followed by Glenda Nogami Strofert.
Aloha Chair, aloha Commissioners. Thank you so much for allowing me to testify. Just want to commend the work of Commissioner Kushney in the recent weeks and months in getting to this point. And thank you, Commission, for allowing this PIG to really show the truth of what's happening across our state. Whether you are a Democrat appointed commissioner or a Republican appointed commissioner, we all should want transparency in the election system. And if there is
What about the other parties?
bring
What about the other parties?
to ask
They
questions.
don't matter.
Hey, that's a dead giveaway. It's going to matter pretty soon.
Continuity of our democratic republic is the trust in the election system.
Democratic Republic.
PIG so far has shown that there has been discrepancies, and it should be
It's
the goal
just
of
executive
this to ensure that there is
governor.
trust.
Yeah, that
of
entity.
people of Hawaii. So I
Dictatorship
would urge
with
the
100
chair
appointees.
and commissioners.
I
to
don't
keep
mind
these
talking over Diamond
investigations
Garcia
going.
because, like,
Again, if there is no
Fluff,
trust
fluff,
from the
fluff,
public,
bro.
then what's the point? So
Get
thank
on the
you all,
path,
and
Diamond.
Commissioner Kushney, thank
Blow
you
the
for your
whistle,
work, sir.
Diamond.
Aloha.
I know you up to something, dude.
The next testifier is Glenda Nogami Strofert, followed by Kay Aloha.
There you go.
All right. This is just to let you know, this is Glenda Nagami Stroifert. I'm from Kauai. I was one of the official observers during the counting. And this is to let you know that from my perspective, there was full chain of custody from the time that we got the ballots to the time that they were
From
reported.
your perspective.
At every
Okay.
step along the way,
I
there were at
respect your
least two people to
perspective.
sign off on it, to observe the whole moving of
But
boxes.
didn't an investigation already show
and
that that's not the case?
for the,
Yeah, and did she get paid to share
for
this perspective?
everything else that was going on in there, there was always at least two people that were signing for it. Those were not necessarily the same two people, so we would always have accountability on that, but there are names attached to it.
Okay, so
And
she should
the
be
counting
fired.
machines were also reviewed every once in a while and
Every
audited.
once in a while? Why'd they try
Random
to arrest
boxes of
Ryan
ballots were
Luther for
taken
pointing
out
out
to
stuff
be
about that?
hand counted to see what numbers of ballots were in that box and compared it to what was done by the counting machines. So the counting machine was accurate, as well as the chain of custody. And that's the things that I wanted you to know, that on Kauai, there were observers at every stage. And
on Kauai?
Well, she just ratted herself out.
Imagine that there was
Yeah,
anything that
dude.
was done.
Keep talking. Self-identified.
There was
I mean,
full transparency.
That's why she
you're
needs
going
to
to
put a
prison
face in.
first, dude. How much Obama pay you?
But I wanted to let you know that it's
thanks for
not
letting us
as
know.
though
You're
there are
excused.
people out there trying to
Well, let's give her
do nefarious
her
deeds.
full 3 minutes to hang herself.
Nefarious deeds.
So thank you for your time. And
Yeah.
Let's give her a whole for 3 minutes, guys. This is all being recorded for public
Next
integrity.
testifier is Kealoha, followed by Joe Akana.
Nice. Yes, dude.
I told him I go talk after you. I told him I talk after you.
I just want to recognize the committee and all that's been going on to correct all that has happened. But more importantly, I want to thank the people that have given their testimony and done their due diligence in exposing the corruption and stating it here clearly. Where you all from here, those are who have volunteered into these positions. And thank you for doing that, because it has educated me. Have not been on these meetings just once in a while. So I'm very grateful to hear all that we the people are saying, those who are concerned and love this Aina, which I hope you all do love the Aina and the people on the land.
Who is this
I want to
lady?
take
I
us a
love
little
her.
bit higher than
I don't know, but I think Kealoha, I like her already.
Wants to have a communication with John, and he says, come up higher so that I can show you some things. And that's where I want to bring us right now. There is an umbrella over all of Hawaii. And it's a declaration over Hawaii that we are all accountable to, not just you, but we us people too. And this accountability is, I believe, is spoken over us because when the enemy comes in like a flood, this standard is raised up, and the Spirit of the Lord will lift up a standard against it.
She went into the Lord thing, you know.
Right. And that standard,
You already
is
know
a
how I
reminder
feel
of
about that.
humility. I say to you, ua mau ke ea, o ka aina i ka pono. Ua mau ke ea, o ka aina i ka pono. Ua mau ke ea, o ka aina i ka pono. The life of the land that you live on, that you eat from, that you
she's
enjoy,
giving me
that
chills.
you relax in, that you
Right,
retire
but she's not saying it right. It's a sovereignty of the land.
righteousness.
This is what we already just this is the whole thing about the Hawaiian community as well. They don't understand how,
We were so threatened
you know
by
what I mean?
Traffic. We couldn't even move, some people. We were stuck in traffic. Everyone going home to their loved ones. He is watching. He is watching, and I just want to remind you of that. We love you, all of you who give of your time, even the legislators. But God is watching. So the life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness.
So just for everybody who's listening on top of our Brave podcast and YouTube, it's the sovereignty of the land is
Next
perpetuated in
testifier
righteousness.
is Joe Akana, followed by Jennifer Kaguan. I do want to mention that we have repeat testifiers, Wallen Christian and Jennifer Hunt.
Thank you. Morning,
Look at
Joe.
my babe. Look at him.
Oh, hope I pray all you guys are well. Glad to hear everybody survived. Got out of the traffic, so to speak. So real quick, in case you guys don't know, I ran for Congress in 2020 and 2022. And in a PBS Insights interview at the time, we discussed this very issue about having the election integrity. We discussed what was going on. And at the time, it was verified that Scott Noggle himself said there were over almost 100,000 ballots that were improperly either sent to the wrong address or sent to dead people. And I don't know if that thing has actually been corrected or not, but 100,000 ballots in any direction on any election can seriously alter the outcome of an election. I'm glad to see that Ralph is actually pointing this out. The numbers that they're looking at, he said, is about 600 and something that were on Kauai, 19,000 on the Big Island. You had no recognition in Maui, and then on Oahu, there's also no what I'm going to say, there's no way to verify what they're talking about or anything's missing. Is there a potentiality that yes, there could be a lot of miscounted or misrepresented votes? 100%. 100% you could have that. With 100,000 votes going anywhere one way or the other, yes, you could have a serious misrepresentation. I think what Ralph has done is just basically touched on the iceberg, right? The tip of the iceberg of what is really happening in the election system and in the process of what's going on. I applaud you guys for what you're doing. I applaud the commission for what they're doing here. At the same time, we got to get this right.
I hope he brings up Honolulu PD
again,
and that's because we don't have
affected
free and
an
fair
election?
elections or real government.
Absolutely.
That's the result.
Has the voter polls been fixed? Don't know. Haven't heard anything about that. But we know that the voter rolls were messed up. He admitted it himself on TV. Once you admit it, did we fix it? Have we gone through the process of trying to fix it? If you took that same ratio, I think Ralph said
Still
it was about
podcasting,
2%
bro.
of what he was talking about on a big island. It was 19,000. I mean, that's a lot of percentages
No,
of missed
that's,
votes
my
or
other
miscounted
car.
votes or
Don't worry.
potentiality for fraud in a,
All right,
in a
tuck it.
counting of a
Bye.
vote system. So yes, it's there. It's there. I'm glad we're going to do it. I think we need to keep on doing the pig, but need to do it like everyone else, several other people have said, to do it on every single island and do it from every angle we possibly can. I appreciate your time and look forward to hearing what anybody else has got to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Akana.
The next testifier is Jennifer Capuan, followed by Gary Cordery.
Hello, hi. My name is Jennifer Cabuan. I've testified in a lot of these meetings because I've been involved since 2020 election. I believe all of this. I thank Ralph Cushney for pushing the agenda to get all of these this information and details out into the public, because we've been testifying over and over and over and nothing has been done for years. I can't believe it's years. First of all, I believe that the whole problem could have been avoided. We didn't even need a pig if in the first place you followed the law and did a proper audit using
Yes, Jennifer.
that process has still not taken place to this date. And I don't know why you can't just take it back to the basics and follow the rules that you have set up in the first place. I think that would avoid a whole bunch of issues. And secondly, I'd like to ask that you would submit this pig investigation as a formal job performance for Scott Nagle, because I believe if you're not doing your job, you should be replaced, because elections are too important to just let them be irrelevant. So I ask that you would seriously consider adding this Kauai pig and also doing further investigations on Oahu and Big Island and Maui, etc. And I'd also ask that in looking forward to the next upcoming election that we do not do ranked choice voting, because in that case, there would be no way to audit the vote. I yield. Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you, Jen.
It's a fraud system built
The
in.
next
Ranked
testifier
choice
is
voting.
Gary Cordery, followed by Walling Christian.
Good morning.
Aloha, Chair Curtis and members. Recently looking at the Heritage Foundation's election integrity scorecard, Hawaii ranks 51st. It has the lowest ranking for election integrity in the nation. This has been going on since 2016. The data is available for your review. It speaks loudly to the ongoing unwillingness of this commission to exercise its responsibility. Scott Nagle, director, is not being held to account for his behavior in leading this state with election integrity. And I'm not, there will be many testifiers who will speak eloquently about what's not working, about solutions to the problem. They're not actually difficult to understand. They're really quite simple. They're not complex. I'm here not to speak about those matters. Those have been for you, have been before you for commission meeting after commission meeting. I'm going to speak clearly to your conscience. I'm going to ask you to consider the nature of your conscience when you continually engage in an unwillingness to be transparent before the people. If you think that the searing of your conscience to do what is right, to bring transparency and accountability to a system that's designed to support the people.
Sound like we're at the church.
If you think that that doesn't have implications on your family, in your heart, in the spirit,
They need
I
the
can tell
fear
you,
of Keakua in them.
your times on this commission will come to a close.
That's Gary
Just simply,
Cordery from
you will
Aloha
time out.
Freedom Coalition. For the folks who don't
But
know,
the
he ran
impact
for governor against
of the way you're
Kaleakana
positioning yourself
in
and relating to what's
2022.
before you will continue in your lives. This idea, this declaration that we shall have a state perpetuated in righteousness falls clearly in this category. And I can tell you, whether you're religious or not, God will not be mocked. We will reap what we sow. It's very clear. I don't want to make this like to a religious conversation. I'm speaking and asking you for your sake, for the sake of your family, your ohana, not about the state, not about the protocols and principles of this commission. I'm asking you to stop. That the grace extended to you can change now. You can change now. You can make a decision right now and say, let's open the door and let's look at all the information that's been requested over and over. I submit this to you not as an angry citizen, an exasperated candidate. I submit this to you in a greater context and ask that you would consider
Boy, the only one went 25 seconds over.
and change. Because if you don't, there are consequences. I'm sorry. Thank you, Gary. Thank you.
The next testifier is Walling Christian, followed by Jennifer Hunt.
Good morning. So sorry, I forgot to mention and put on record that I also would, and I've testified to this, that I would also like to ask that, well, I won't even say ask. I do believe that the right thing to do is to do away with mail-in and electronic voting, and that we do in-person voting. And I would appreciate that. Thank you very much. I yield.
Thank you, Ms. Christian.
The next testifier is Jennifer Hunt, followed by Brett Colbis.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to speak again. I did want to address just one small matter that is obviously related to HAR 3-177.
I love Jen.
Hawaii Revised Statute
Nail 'em.
11- it's Title 2, 11-154 is records, blah, 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 etc. And it does refer to observers needing to be present anytime those ballots are touched. So an earlier speaker was talking about how everything, in the counting center is on the up and up. And I highly agree with that. We do not, the observers, meaning we, the observers, do not see what happens after somebody places their ballot in a drop box or the post office box. They're picked up. We don't have any chain of custody anywhere near where you would count those ballots in those places and have observers observe how many there are and then write that down and people sign off on it. They go to some place, a black hole in the clerk's office, and we don't see them again until they enter the counting center. So there's a whole bunch of nodes there that are not watched by observers. And so I do understand why people who are in the counting center see all the processes, and it does look very good. Once it goes into that computer, we don't have any idea what happens. There's no way to verify anything. So for people who don't understand that, it's understandable that they don't understand, but it is a problem when from the time someone drops their ballot off, we need to know how many of those ballots come in, where they're going. They need to be tracked, and we need to know those numbers. And we have no way of knowing. They could be fake ballots for all we know. And that's the problem. We need to verify the entire chain of custody from start to finish. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The next testifier is Brett Colbis, followed by repeat testifier Megeso William Dennis.
Yes, I just wanted to add one thing. There's a lot of people calling for you guys to do more investigations. Well, I say you take it further and you request from the Attorney General under HRS 2811 that she institute or assign a special either investigator or prosecutor to address the election integrity issues that everybody's talking about. Under that law, she can appoint somebody that is outside of her, outside of the AG's office, so it can be a private citizen. I yield.
Thank you, Brett.
My motion
The
to
final
make Ralph
testifier
Kushner
is
our chair.
Megeso William Dennis.
Yes, thank you. My name is Megeso William Dennis. I just wanted to follow up. I mentioned earlier I had 20 years experience in the field of optical character and mark sense recognition technology, which is similar to the HART into civic voting machines. In September and October of 2022, I submitted 3 FOIA or UIPA requests regarding the audit process and equipment logs of the HART into civic equipment. I requested reviewing the source code, the equipment maintenance logs, the hardware and software updates that were installed since 2020, the readability statistics of each machine before and after the software and hardware updates were implemented, the measurement of the ballots, the document feeder reliability, machines equipped with modems, and a remote Microsoft software application that could flip the votes. For the record, all of these FOIA requests went unanswered. I thank you again for your time. Have a blessed day.
Thank you for your concern.
It looks like we have an additional hand up. Wendy Willis Moore.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, my 2 cents is I remember many, many years ago not getting Republican ballots due to Scott Nago saying he ran out and didn't answer his phone for many hours. This corruption is nothing new. There's a reason that Hawaii is deemed the most corrupt state in the nation, and the elections are a big part of it. You guys need to stop messing around now. There's new people in charge, and I want to see people not removed, but prosecuted after they're removed.
Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.
But she didn't give them the golden bridge to retreat
Looks
on.
like
Come
we
on,
have an
Wendy.
additional hand up. We have April Lee.
Miss Lee, you have to unmute yourself. Miss Lee?
Okay. No Lee.
Okay, Chair, did you want to move on? There's another hand up.
Yeah, we'll take this Clay for governor of Hawaii as the last one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Get ready, foos.
Aloha,
She
kako.
going-
Thank you for everybody's testimony.
Clay, what's your full name?
That you have gotten all of this completed with the Elections Commission and been able to go through this. I ran for governor against Josh Green and Gary Corduroy in 2022. I won my election and I was not put on the mail-out ballots. So in 2024, Joe and I decided we weren't going to run again because people didn't take this seriously. We are very thankful for all the work that you guys are doing today. Yes, Ralph needs an apology from those who have said bad things about him. But I really feel like listening to all of you guys right now, that the course is changing for the state. that before the 2026 election, there is going to be more accountability because of all the efforts that you guys are doing and taking place in these meetings. I too believe that Scott Nago, top down, should remove himself, should be prosecuted. I believe Joe's election was stolen from him in 2020. I believe other people's elections since the primary ballot was basically the exact opposite of what the rules and statutes said. Even that should be considered in 2022 to be looked at, but we all need to move forward as well. And so I just wanted to thank you guys for everything that you guys are doing and continue to go on. Mahalo.
Thank you. Let's try Mary Healy again.
Okay, Mary Healy.
Hi, thank you for
That's
hearing
okay, Andrew.
me. I know that
You
you
nailed
said
it.
you were going to hear any more testifiers, but I would just like to reiterate that Scott Nago really should be fired by the commission. He doesn't need to remove himself. There's ample evidence through all these complaints, whether it's the state of Hawaii voting or how other testifiers have brought up the implications that there could be CCP members serving in the elections office with
What?
Scott Nago.
Oh my.
What?
So many reasons
How do I
why
get a hold of Mary Healy?
we,
Hey.
as
We need to talk.
citizens of this state, are unsatisfied with the election process.
You could probably
We
call
want to
Ralph.
see
He'll
our
probably know who
voting
she is.
centers
Yeah,
opened
no,
up.
I know her
We
name.
want
I
to
probably have her
see
contact somewhere.
accountability. We want to see paper ballots used for the audits, not photos of the ballots that can be manipulated. As a whole, the country has become aware of the situation with the integrity issues. And each state has their own issues. And Hawaii is just the biggest example, as previous testifiers have stated. It's ranked 51st for a reason. And also, you know, we only have a very short amount of time until the midterms. And I brought this up in a previous testimony that I gave to the commission. Like I said, I've come here a lot trying to move the commission to do something. And, you know, from today, we have 461 days until our midterm elections. And I think, as just speaking for myself, I'm very unsatisfied with the governor of Hawaii. You know, all the sirens going off yesterday. That's great and everything, but what about when the whole Maui fires were happening? I understand that that's not.
Boom, go
but,
Mary.
You know, he was
Get him,
on
Mary.
So how could he do anything to make sure that those citizens, and he is the governor of the biggest mass fire casualty in modern American history. And I believe I speak for a lot of the citizens that are very upset with this particular individual for a number of other reasons too.
I'm upset.
We want to know that when the governor race comes up, that he can be removed by the people voting for
Thank you,
who
Ms.
they
Healy.
want. Thank you.
You're going to try April Lee again?
Yes, we'll give her a shot.
Thank you. Thank you
There
so
you go.
much. Yes. And I agree with the previous testifier. The ultimate
April
truth really
Lee.
is, and thank you for your volunteer efforts and your sincere hearts open to what we're saying today,
you're very
because
sincere.
I have been on election commissions in more than the state, and I have been part of the ACLU, and I am now part of civil defense and FEMA, and we were really,
FEMA.
really busy and tired after the last 24 hours. But, you know, we
Yeah,
in
what a
Hawaii
tough day
are
yesterday
at the
with the
bottom
fake
of the list
tsunami.
of election protocols for honesty, clarity, transparency. And I think Tara did a fantastic evidence. Jamie, Ms. Ho, Surfing for Truth, Ralph Kushney, thank you so much. Basically, these broader issues that are not just affecting the pig on Kauai are really a reflection of every county. As we observers, we know that you have a difficult job because this system has been in place since the whole kingdom was taken over. It's very much kind of a aggressive
Mary.
type of situation where we
Don't
do
open up a can of worms, Mary.
This one's April Lee.
supported by the governor. And we do have
But she works for
elections that
FEMA.
are basically the money system, and that's where we
So it might
also
be
have
lip
to
service.
figure out how to change this. We need and have tried for very long.
Well, she brought it up on the
get
record, is all
publicly
I'm
funded
saying.
elections. That in itself would do so much and make your job so much easier. So I do agree with the former speakers that the two-party system where we have to claim our party before we can even vote individually is definitely absolutely sabotaging individual choice. You know, a candidate that's not a Democrat will become a Democrat, and that is really ridiculous. So I've seen so many candidates turn into the overreaching power center because they didn't have a choice. And it led and has led to corruption and moral decay within our system. When we need an entire revamp with these publicly funded elections, we are going to have to work together. We are now in that canoe, and we hopefully will continue to bruise our muscles to make this thing work, because that's totally what we are committed to, who came onto this today, because yes, it was very difficult to find. Very few people found it, and yet we are here, and the quality of consciousness has upheld the moral quality that we expect from you, and we know our state can attain, because we are Hawaii. Aloha.
Thank you.
Chair, it looks like we have an additional hand up.
Well, let's listen to Fernandez.
Okay.
But kind of nice. Everybody feels like they can talk now.
Okay, and for the record,
Lots
my
of
name is
testimony.
Star Fernandez. Thank you for
Star,
your
thank you very much.
Because we know that wasn't the case in 2022.
I have helped back in, I think, the Bush, Gore, and also the following election. So way back then.
Oh, interesting.
And it'll make my point for Kauai. I was an observer. We ran a tight ship, meaning the people that actually did do the work, we observed that. I, as an observer, observed people counting ballots. And my point is with Kauai, because the way it's run currently, I always hear, well, there's not enough people to do a mail-in ballot, but because the precincts are divided, because we had precincts way back when, and also before the 2020 election, the 2020 election, there are enough people who do want to help and work in the precincts. And so I really do call for just having one-day voting and in person. I would love to have the day off too as well. But like I said, from my experience, for the time I helped back then, there were sufficient amount of people ready and raring to go. And this was Democrats and Republicans. And I don't know if there was independents, but we were all there ready to go to help. I've been to these meetings, not every single one of them. I've only started back in January. And when I did first start, it was like 6 hours or 5 to 6 hours long. It was really crazy. And I do call for the resignation of Scott Nago. It's unacceptable what's taken place over many years under his leadership. And I do ask the commission, it always seems to be like it's 5-4, not to remove him and so forth. There's been calling at the time of a meeting for the resignation. And then there's been I don't understand all the rules and logistics, but you can't, I've heard
I gotta go pee, I'll be back.
Pounded and saying that, we can't do that right now at this meeting. But I call for resignation right now in this meeting. And I know Scott Nago is in this meeting. He's either 0E001 or 0E007.
She got him.
So, he's listening in, and that's not transparency to me. If this is supposed to be transparency, he's the head of this commission, I suppose, then he should show his face. And so I call for the commission right now to make a vote to have Scott Nagle fired from his job. Anyway, thank you so much for your time and for listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Star.
Chair, there are no additional testifiers.
Thank you. As mentioned previously, I'm going to use the same format with 3 minutes for each of the commissioners. I would ask each of the commissioners to express their thoughts on this report. And I would start from the Big Island with and we'll go over 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 3 minutes until we exhaust ourselves. I would ask Ms. Papalimo to comment.
Chair, sorry to be shorting things. I just wanted to, I think that I've advised before, but as you know, the requirements of HRS 92 2.5, any discussion can only be held at the next meeting. So any discussion by the board right now at this meeting would be a violation of the Sunshine Law.
I disagree with that. And I'm going to continue with the discussion from the commissioners on this report. And starting with Ms. Papalimo.
Aloha, thank you, Chair. I appreciate that.
The deputy attorney's office just got
sent out for this meeting, and I was appalled. And I really, Peter, I just want to give you kudos for getting your job done, for meeting with the people on your team, and for issuing your report and the recommendation.
Are you back, Andrew?
Yes.
The deputy prosecuting or the deputy attorney just got punked. He tried to call a Sunshine Law.
We're going to do exactly the same on our
what we're doing right now.
And so I'm hoping
Mike Garrison,
I have a question.
I disagree, and we're going to
Did
move
you
forward with the report.
did your pig subpoena?
David Camp is sweating, or what's it? Oscar Camp
This
is
is your
sweating.
3 minutes. You can make a statement. You'll have a chance to respond, and Peter will have a chance to answer your question. But right now, this is your 3 minutes.
Turn your
Please
echo
go
off,
ahead with your
please.
opinion.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so no questions at this time. Is that what you're saying, Chair?
Well, you can ask questions, but Peter will have an opportunity when it's his turn to respond, as you will have an opportunity the next go around to respond to any questions that arise that.
Thank you. I get it. I think it's something that we knew was occurring, and we knew what was happening, and there was no accountability of the clerks for these errors or discretions. My concern is not just with the integrity of the people's vote and the fact that the office finds it irrelevant, is that this becomes a fiscal problem. Not so bad when it's 700, but when it's 19,000, you have to understand that there is an account that the U.S. Postal Service takes money out of for the ballots that they process. So if we have 19,000 mail-in ballots unaccounted for, did they take out money for those ballots? Or if they didn't take out money for those ballots, and the Office of Elections found those 19,000 ballots, did they make an effort to pay the post office? Now we get into fiscal fraud.
Right.
And I think what we need to understand as we move forward with our pig.
It's all about the money. Follow the money, track the money, find out a lot.
Really brings up more questions that we need to ask. And maybe it will be time for us, our pig, to use our subpoena power to get questions. So this is my opinion on what can be done because of this permitted interaction group and their recommendations to us.
Thank you.
So for their recommendation,
you'll get another 30 minutes later.
Thank you.
Or 33 minutes.
Thank you.
Adam, what are your thoughts?
Thank you, Chair Curtis. Well, and also thank you, Chair Young, for the PIG report that you provided. I'm happy to discuss all of the findings from our pig when we have them. I understand that, but we don't have a response back yet from County of Hawaii. And I think it would be useful to discuss both results when we have both the reports at the same time. And also bearing in mind that the legal advice that we've just received from the...
How many people came on? What's the total count?
Shouldn't really be
80 something?
discussing these now as well.
Oh, in the
it's a
Zoom
violation
call?
of sunshine.
Yeah, is it
But,
82?
just wanted to say thank you
Let's
for
see.
the report, and I've also read the
Yeah, I don't
response
know
from
where to
Scott
see the
Nago, and I
number.
think it
At
would
the very
be
bottom.
Oh, yeah,
wise,
This is
83
in my
now.
opinion, to consider
Not too
both
bad.
the results of this
80 to
pig
100 is a
and
good number.
the pig for the
We
County of Hawaii
definitely
at the
got our
same
tipping
time, and
point.
then we could have a full response from all counties and the Office of Elections at the same time. And I think that would be more beneficial for everyone. I appreciate the fact that's obviously going to delay things, but unfortunately, that's my opinion.
Thank you, Claire. Dylan.
And then Scott Nago got called out by one of the ladies. Well,
Yeah.
well, I guess he's on here as E001 or something.
Technical
One of
difficulty.
those, you know what I mean? Not showing his face.
There
not
we go.
being
I had a
transparent.
There you go.
unmute.
There you go.
Dylan's
I
a
just
good
had a
guy,
point
this
of
guy.
clarification or information. Is this meeting considered the second meeting of the PIG where presentation only is made, or are we on the third meeting where deliberation and action can be made?
No, this is discussion. The next meeting, any motions and actions as a result of the report will be made. And that'll be at the next meeting. Today, we're just discussing. We do not have an opportunity to make any motions. Your opinion, Dylan.
Yeah, I have several experiences with different pigs on different commissions, so I'm going to be a little reserved on discussing this because I don't want my personal contribution to this discussion to devoid the work of the pig in any way or to be a violation of sunshine law in any way. I'll just quickly say I do agree with the report. I agree with every recommendation. Chair, I'd like to formally request, as we've heard from the public, that we do investigate every county. It should not just be reserved to Kauai County and Hawaii County. I do want to emphasize that the responsibility of this does rely with the Office of Elections. It cannot be deferred and delegated to the counties as if it's all their responsibility. Scott Nago should be held accountable. And to that point, I would also like to request on behalf of the public, as you've heard in testimony, that on continued agendas, we should always have the evaluation of the chief election officer perpetually on our agendas. And that'll be my comments for today. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Dylan. Jeffrey Osterkamp.
Yes, I'd like to thank the members of the PIG for all the hard work they put in. But given the guidance that we've received from Deputy Attorney General Cheng, I don't have further comment at this time.
Yeah, I believe this meeting is for the discussion and the next meeting is for any decision making, as I understand it. Thank you, Jeffrey. Are you done?
Yep.
Peter Young.
In deference to Deputy Attorney General Cheng, I'm going to reserve my comments for a future meeting. I do appreciate the commentary and the accolades for the PIG members, and we hopefully will get to a result soon. Thank you.
Mr. Kushney.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and thanks for the PIG's hard work. And I'd like to point out a few things that they missed inadvertently. But I'd like to start with is the cover-up is worse than the crime. And I hope that people start stepping forward to tell the truth as the Office of Elections narrative unravels. The county and the state records show that thousands of ballots were inserted electronically with no paper trail. Before the 2024 election, I wrote to the County of Kauai that we expected official chain of custody records in compliance with HAR 3-177453. After asking for the records before, during, and after the election, They were finally given to me on November 1st. And this timeline is important. That's 16 days after the election. We then submitted the records that the county gave to us to the state Supreme Court on November 25th, showing the major discrepancies in the collections and counting of ballots from the records that the county gave us. On December 2nd, the county clerk issued certificates of election for the county council. On December 4th, the county revised and resubmitted collections records to the court. These revised records were falsified by adding fraudulent ballots on top of already missing ballots for a total of more than 2,000 unaccounted for ballots. The number of mail ballot envelopes reported do not match the mail receipts. The Kauai County Council race was decided by 100 votes. So let me say this again. The County of Kauai issued certificates of election for the council before they revised the chain of custody documentation submitted to the Supreme Court. The county committed perjury to the Supreme Court, and it is illegal under HRS 92F-13 to falsify public records. Then the county dismissed its own records as unofficial. If they were unofficial, why were they falsified and resubmitted to the Supreme Court after the election was certified? This shows that they were trying to make their records match the results and not the other way around. Certificates of election were issued before the county replied to the Supreme Court. Certificate dates were issued on December 2nd. The county submitted a motion to dismiss on December 4th. Council members were inaugurated on December 5th, and the election, my case in the Supreme Court was dismissed by the court on December 20th.
Thank you, Ralph.
All shows
You'll get another chance. Lindsay.
Thank you. First of all, it's kind of disturbing that the chair, you and the attorney are not on the same page about what we're allowed to do and say at this meeting. I would think that would be straightened out.
It's because the attorney is working for the state.
That certainly puts a damper on people's willingness to speak, and therefore, for us to make any kind of progress at all. I understand we're not taking any action at this meeting. That's very clear, but
So you could also always sue the prosecutor's office.
it seems like we should have a clear direction about whether or not we can express an opinion at this meeting. I'm going to go ahead and say a couple things in response to testimony. I just want to say to Glenda Nogami-Strufert, who was the official observer and said there was certainly nothing going wrong in the counting center. I was also an official observer in the counting center, and I agree. We didn't say that there was anything untoward happening in the counting center. The whole thrust of our report is what came into the counting center from the county. There were many points at which there could have been observers and there were not. And so that needs to be clearly understood. We're not talking about what we were allowed to observe within the counting center, but what came into the counting center that had already been through several stages of collection and review and packing and so forth. So that needs to be understood. The other thing is, although we haven't seen Mr. Nago at this meeting, he did submit testimony. And if you read his letter and looked at his chart, you might think that he addressed everything that we brought up and that now there's no issue. However, this is a beautiful chart, but it's backup, please. It's meaningless. I have zero confidence in these numbers because just saying so, just putting these numbers on a piece of paper does not mean that they are true. So we have to see what's really going on. These numbers are not verified. That's what we're asking for, verification, so that.
Thank you, Lindsay. I'm going to take my 3 minutes. I'm going to read a statement here. Mail-in voting began in 2020, initially as a pilot program on Kauai. However, the legislature made the decision to implement it statewide. Since then, we've transitioned from same-day in-person precinct voting to an all mail-in voting system. This marked the first phase of what many consider an experiment, new for voters, officials, and the system as a whole. Through ongoing analysis, we can refine the process, enhancing both transparency and public trust. Unfortunately, rising political polarization had made these conversations contentious. The integrity of election officials is being openly questioned, creating an environment where productive problem solving is difficult. Yet we all share a common goal. Honest,
we're going through some
secure, and
difficulty
efficient
there.
elections. The legislature has placed its trust in the U.S. Postal Service to handle the delivery and return of ballots, both voted and unvoted, making
Why
them
would we
a
trust U.S.
trusted
Postal
agent.
Service? They suck.
Similarly,
dude.
the Office of Elections and County Clerks appoint trained election officers to administer the voting process, also trusted agents. The main source of concern regarding chain of custody seems to be the use of ballot drop boxes. Voted ballots placed in these boxes are collected and delivered to county election officers. Historically, chain of custody has involved civilians transporting ballots between clerk's offices to precinct polling places and to counting centers. However, unlike UPS facilities, which are more numerous and regulated, drop boxes have introduced an additional layer that some voters consider unnecessary. Eliminating them would ensure that only designated trusted agents handle ballots throughout the process. There are many more post offices than there are drop boxes. Drop boxes are redundant. While there are other important issues to address, removing drop boxes would directly resolve the most vocal concern, chain of custody. Let's set aside division and work together to resolve these perceived conflicts in good faith. Thank you. So we'll go around again and we'll start with Dylan in Maui. You have anything to say, offer, Dylan?
Yes, Chair. I just want to, again, formally request, everything that was shared today is not isolated. Of course, I'm chairing the other PIG that's investigating anomalies on Hawaii County and also, again, Kauai County. And I just want to say, again, that's not isolated. A lot of the findings presented would be echoed in our presentation. And so I'd like to formally request that at the next available meeting, at the very next meeting, immediate meeting, our PIG be given the opportunity to present it formally to the board.
So you have your report completed?
We're finalizing it, and we request to make that formal presentation at the next meeting.
Okay, we'll receive your report at the next meeting. Peter Young, do you have anything else?
No.
Jeffrey Osterkamp?
No.
Back to Ralph.
Yes, Chair, thank you. So what I'm saying here is really important. The county gave me chain of custody documentation, which showed over 4,000 ballots were inserted electronically. They did not revise their chain of custody records until after the election was certified. That means that they certified the election based on the original chain of custody documentation that they gave me. They committed perjury in the state Supreme Court. They altered the chain of custody documentation that they gave me and they inserted documentation for mail receipts, and you can look at the mail receipts. They did not receive that many ballots on those days. And that'll be brought up in the next meeting. So to continue with what I was saying, inserting ballots electronically is made possible because there is no verification of the electronic records. When ballot envelopes are transferred from the county to the state, observers are not allowed to verify the number of ballot envelopes. They're only allowed to count the number of trays being transported. So that's not chain of custody. If you're counting trays, and I was there with Lindsay and the others at the counting center, and we saw the transfers coming over, each tray had a different amount of envelopes. So we had no physical verification of how many envelopes were being moved. Finally, audits conducted on mail-in voting use ballot images, not actual physical ballots. Ballot images can be duplicated, thus allowing numbers to be inflated. After collections, there is no confirmation of the physical inventory. So on Kauai, after the county collected it, they had 4 people review how many ballots they counted, 2 at the drop box, and after they collected at the drop box, they brought those ballots back to the county office and they double checked those numbers and they signed off on those forms. It's not possible for thousands of ballots to get around their collections process. They allowed me to ride around with them and watch how they collected them. What they're doing is they're altering their records to match the results provided by Scott Nago. So this renders our election results unreliable and unverifiable. I recommend that Scott Nago and Mike Curtis be removed from office and that an independent audit of all the island records be conducted with the assistance of the FBI. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Lindsay,
That's
did
it,
you have anything
Ralph.
else?
No, I think I've said what I want to say. It's just, it doesn't add up, and we need, the numbers just don't mean anything unless they're verified, and the numbers keep changing. The numbers on this chart received yesterday from Mr. Nago are different from numbers that we received when we were doing our pig investigation. Different totals, different. So, I mean, I think that statement that they're changing the numbers to match the total is, to match the 27,075 ballots that were counted. They're going back and trying to make things add up to that number. There's a lot of numbers flying around, and we just need to verify. So I think an external audit is possibly the first step. Oh, and I wanted to respond to what Claire McAdams said about that we should wait for their pig to present its reports and then act on both together. No, thank you. No, we didn't work this hard in order to have it put on a shelf until somebody else gets around to doing another report. No. Thank you.
Thanks, Lindsay. Ms. Papalimo.
Hi, thank you for coming back.
Certainly.
Leslie, I agree with you. Don't wait around for us. We haven't had a meeting. We haven't had a Zoom. We have one letter out there. So I'm glad you're not going to wait. You didn't wait for us. I have a question. These are my questions regarding both pigs. I sit on one and this one is completed. The rules that Deputy A.G. Ching spoke of, why were those rules not given to those of us on the pig when the pig was initiated? One question. I think that would have been incredibly helpful. My question is, the pig has subpoena power. So we can at this time subpoena our county clerk to answer questions because apparently answers are not forthcoming. And that's just a reminder that we should do that. I think we're going to need a fiscal audit of the checking account on the Big Island, that whether money was taken from the US Post Office, because they do a direct take for the amount of ballots that they have as a trusted partner, I guess. And so if we have this huge discrepancy that we have been told were mail-in ballots, either we're paying them for something we didn't get, or we haven't paid them for services rendered. And that becomes an additional problem to just the numbers being off. And amazingly, people seem to respond quickly when it becomes a fiscal audit. My biggest takeaway is true, Peter, and I agree with you, is the word irrelevant. And I don't think it's miscommunication or it's poor choice of vocabulary. I think it truly is a systemic thought in the Office of Elections and the county clerk's office that our voices and our votes are irrelevant to what they come up with. And that, I think, is the problem that requires the changing of the king. So I look forward to us doing our pig. I look forward to us being able to present that to you. And I think it's going to call for a little bit more than just the last two elections. I think we're seriously going to have to look at the last maybe 15 years of election results to see if there's a pattern. And then, Chair, I have a request. I know you always ask everybody that comes on to testify to put their name on there. And you have Office of Elections testifier with no name. And then you have 1, 4, 5, and 7 with no name. Even if it's just a Hawaii office or a Maui office, I think that should be on there.
Thank you. Testifiers need to address their name. We'll get back to you. I would ask Ms. McAdams.
Oh, I'm sorry. I also want to let you know that
we'll be back to you next. We'll be back to you next round. You've had your 3 minutes.
I did not receive Scott Nagel's response as a commissioner.
Thank you. You'll get to ask that the next round.
Can somebody me?
No, I don't have any further testimony. Thanks.
Thank you. Back to Dylan. Dylan, did you have anything? Peter Young, anything? Jeffrey Osterkamp, anything?
Nope.
Thank you. Ralph Kushney.
Yes, Chair, I have one more thing to add. The last chain of custody documents, the records, should have been made on December 5th or not December, I'm sorry, on November 5th or maybe November 6th. The documents that we receive keep on changing, like Lindsay Cam says. I would like Mr. Nago to explain to us the thousands of pages that he sent to us, because a lot of records were not even requested on that. And the records that he did provide are changing. And I would like to know how you can change a chain of custody record after it's been made and how that is possible. And then I would like to also have him explain the records that he gave us. There's 1,000 pages in there. So the diligent people on the commission can review the records that he gave to us and understand what he's trying to tell us in these records. Finally, there should be a sheet that he has that reconciles the different records in order to certify the election. We have never seen that, and I'd like him to present that to us prior to the election. And as I said, the election results were certified on Kauai before they revised their chain of custody documentation. And how is that possible if they were short 4,000 votes to certify an election and then after the fact change their chain of custody? Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Lindsay?
No, thank you. I'm done. Thanks.
I'm done. Ms. Papalimu?
Yes, I would also like to understand, I think I have a recommendation for the Office of Elections to have a uniformed SOP for county operations, so that all counties are doing things exactly the same. I think that's a problem when there is nothing printed for these people to do the job that they're doing, other than the rules, which everybody seems to interpret separately. So I think that's something that Scott Nago should work on, is getting a uniform SOP for chain of custody, for everything about the elections that the county is responsible for. And I think that might help.
Thank you.
And also, I did not
I'm sorry.
receive Scott Nago's response that everybody's talking about. So if somebody could please get that sent to me.
Okay. Staff will do that if it hasn't already. Ms. McAdam?
Sorry, I don't have anything further to add.
Thank you. Dylan, we lost you for a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, my connection. No, just want to repeat my formal request that our PIG be able to present orally at the next meeting our findings, and that I feel it would be of benefit to the public that we continually, especially while we're in the middle of these investigations, have the evaluation of the chief election officer perpetually on our agenda for the upcoming meetings. Thank you, Chair.
We need to receive your report, and then we can discuss it at the following meeting.
I want to, for the record, disagree with that. I've been on PIGs on multiple commissions. That is not how it works. We should be able to present it formally at the next meeting orally. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Peter, no more. Jeff, no more. Ralph, did you have anything else?
I'm good, Chair. The public wants accountability. I hope we give it to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Lindsay, anything else?
Actually, yes, but based on what you just said, because I'm on PIG number 2 as well. And just like at this meeting, our PIG number 1 report was received and presented. At the next meeting, we want the PIG number 2 report to be received and presented.
Okay.
Happen received and presented at the same time, right? Because we tried receiving PIG number 1 the last meeting, but because it wasn't presented, it wasn't received. Yeah. So, okay. So at the next meeting, the PIG number 2 report is presented and received and presented all at once.
It looks like I stand corrected.
Okay.
We'll research that. Thank you. Does anyone have anything else? Then I'll schedule the next meeting on August 27th, and we'll see you there. We'll adjourn today's meeting. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Yeah, sure thing, Mike. Whatever. All righty then. That's over. So let me switch back my little camera view here. Bajoom, there we go. It's pretty cool. Calais, are you there? Calais no here? Okay then. Well, shut that one down. Go to Brave meeting, transition there. Oops, why is Brave meeting still?
Andrew, can you hear me?
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I had to switch phones. I was charging my other one, but this, for whatever reason, the audio didn't want to work on my other phone, so I switched back to this one for a little bit with you.
Okay, welcome back.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I'm trying to restart. I'm like missing my feed for some reason. There's a way to like reboot the feed. Let me see. do this. Restart capture. Oh, for some reason it went off of what it was supposed to do. Brave talk. All right, here we go. Now I'm back on and on, but it's kind of cut off and I don't know why. Don't know.
That was interesting. The nice thing is that we don't have to go down there in person. We can be on video or audio.
Yeah, I mean, finally, right? Because before they were like having the Gestapo remove Ralph Kushner, right?
Well, they were Gestapoing a lot of people, especially after the 2020. I think everyone didn't realize how bad the election system was. That's why I ran in 2022. I was like, yeah, we'll see it. I'll just use myself as a test dummy.
Is it convenient for you to turn on your camera now? Because we're still live.
As long as everybody's okay with me smoking a cigarette.
Oh my God, you sinner. How could you? The devil, Bobby.
Oh my
I've just been
gosh.
researching more on Grok about like foreign trusts and like beneficiaries, executors, 501c3s. Because, you know, like for like a Freedom TV type of thing, you want to be able to sell stuff or raise money, but you don't want the feds to be able to look at your money because that's who we're investigating.
Well, then you don't want a 501c then.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm just seeing how they all structure all those, right?
It's complicated.
Yeah, because like 501c3 apparently can like do no capital gains tax, no income tax, but they want you to report stuff. But then once you report stuff, then they'll magically put you in jail like they did to Joby and come like beat you up like they did to Calais. Right? And just have whatever flimsy excuse that they want, right?
I think that's kind of the
interesting part of it. Oh, what? Go ahead.
It's a very interesting thing. And then the other side of it too is the private side of it. You know, as you go through it and you're looking at it and you establish all of your own stuff, then you start to think about how all these other cocksuckers were doing it. Literally. Because on the private side, you know, on the private side, you've got all of these people who are behind corporations and behind other trusts, which is why I always tell people, like, you shouldn't even make a treaty with anybody who you already know has any type of, you know, dealings with having a bloodlust for children as an appetite. You know, you should just stop doing business with them, period. And I know it's hard for a lot of people.
Down, boycott.
And you know, it's just easy as like we were talking the other time. It's like as we started to learn about all of these people that were connected to each other, for example, Disney, I stopped buying their products. I stopped letting my kids watch that shit. When I was growing up, you know, that was the thing. And I look at parents today and I tell myself, man, you know, do they really even know? Which is why the Ghislaine Maxwell case, you know, the Jeffrey Epstein, the Diddy case, a lot of people might not be following it, but if you look at what's on the internet, a lot of people find that is something they don't like. Child predators. They don't like the idea of sodomizing children. They don't like
those
the
are the
idea.
ones that really get messed up when they go to jail, right? And as they should, because most criminals been messed with when they were kids.
Well, a lot of these people who are gay and lesbian, you know, or you know, they've been sodomized or raped or something like that as a child. They've been molested as a child. No one's really been able to talk about it, which has gone on for so long. It's literally centuries. And I remember when I was growing up trying to talk about it, the adults would call you a liar.
Right.
And you were just a child and you couldn't even put everything into words yet. But that's the kind of like the malicious abuse or the ignorant abuse of a parent. Like all these parents who are like, yeah, let me go transgender my child. You know what I mean? Like they're doing it.
End my family line by castrating my kid.
Yeah, and
maybe you know, maybe we don't need people like that. Let them do it. I mean, I feel so bad for their kids. I mean, and you know, I like to joke, but like in all seriousness, like maybe these people never should have bred in the first place. If you're willing to let your kid get snipped like that, dude, there's something messed up.
Well, what happened was is they again, we go back to how things were formulated, right? And when you look at history and colonization and you look at what religions were brought to other places where they're original or indigenous people. And, back in the day, we didn't have the internet. We did it, where our generations are so, um, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's like, how
Yeah.
are you going to use the tool or how are you not going to use the tool? But we have the ability now to do our own research. We don't have to wait for an encyclopedia, you know what I mean, to come into the mail.
Right.
But when we look at the past and we look at the 1800s and the early 1900s, and if there was any type of technology, it was stolen, hidden, and researched upon without the public's knowing. And
Mm.
then, stories were going out, and then you'd call them conspiracy stories, but they were conspiracies for sure of
Hmm.
other people who are in secret societies and doing all of these things to be able to control that information and that power. And when the internet came along, it gave rise to something different, right? It gave rise to people being able to connect. Communications have come a long way as well. And so we have the ability, like right now, we're on Brave, but we're also streaming on YouTube, we're streaming on X, we're streaming in all of these different things. But, in the 1998, these things weren't available, when I was graduating from high school. And so when
Yeah,
you,
only like some like top level media people could do it, and they were really controlling the narrative with their Mockingbird media. But it seems like that's coming to an end, especially yesterday with their scaremongering over that typhoon or the tsunami. And I know the science, it's hard to predict exactly how big it's going to be, but they didn't give us enough information either. They're just like, yeah, fear, fear, fear button, not like, yeah, actually, we don't know how big it's going to be, but it might be like up to 30 feet. Like they have a window that they can calculate how big that thing is going to be, right?
well, you can, I mean, but again, it's kind of like the elections, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you start with poisonous fruit or misinformation, then you have a lot of different elaborate I mean, like we
Yep.
had friends that were doing numbers, from what we researched on Noah and all of this stuff. They gave us like,
Mm.
and the wording that they used was like, it's like a whole bunch of detonated TNT. So it made it sound like it was intentionally detonated and it wasn't an earthquake, right? So like when you
I
really
wondered if it was a deep underground military base being nuked or something. I wondered about that. Is there some war going on? Because guess what I saw? I haven't published this video yet. A few hours before that warning, I was driving down Paia, like past Mama's Fish House, and I see a military helicopter in the sky going around and like circling back. And we don't usually see those, but then there was a fighter jet too. So like over here on Maui, we don't see those as often as what you might see on Big Eye or on
or
Oahu.
Oahu. Yeah.
Yeah. So like when we see it here, it's like, is there an exercise going on, or there's got to be something happening, right?
Well, there's
It's not just
definitely,
like
yeah,
normal traffic. And then a
there's
few hours
definitely,
later, we get that warning, quote unquote, scaremonger.
yeah, there's definitely exercises that are going on. I truly believe that there are military exercises with DUMS still going on, initiated from maybe 2018, 19.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a lot of people were not following the trafficking of kids. They were not following how big business and big tech
Mm-hmm.
and all of these huge conglomerates, they may not have yet tied the central banking families and all of these elitists to how the corporations work. They may not have done their own graphs, unlike Scott Nagel's changing numbers. When you look at history, a lot of these families that are behind all of these corporations to protect themselves, to be able to give them kind of like again, you can sue anybody you want, but are you going to sue the company or are you going to sue the person? And how can you pin the company to the person when
Right.
all that information is kind of being, it may be public, but you got to go do some research, right? And so like I feel like we're a part of a generation where, because of the internet and because we understand paper, we get the best of both worlds if we actually become proactive and actually start to apply ourselves individually, you know. Um, that, to me, actually, Julie and I were talking well, Joe and I were talking about it, and then Julie and I were in text message yesterday, just thinking like, are these more DUMBs that are being blown up by the military? Because as we all know, who we've done our own investigative studies, they're out there. They're out there, and they do need to be blown up. People who are living underground and stealing kids from the top of from daylight and sucking them into underground tunnels, and you know utilizing children for whatever they want to do is there's for those people who think that that's okay. The question is are you human?
Okay, so check this out. Susie just texted me. She's listening. I sent her the link so she could join
Okay,
in.
she can hop in on
But
Brave.
yeah,
Yay.
she said that most of the DUMBs are between 9 and 10 kilometers in depth. So when searching a quake, you can also search the depth to see if it's possibly military related. Okay,
Correct.
so yeah, if you go on NOAA, was it, or NORAD? Which one was it?
We were on NOAA. There's a couple of different ones. We can put it inside of the links for everybody after the show. I don't have it like on me. It's on my computer
Yeah,
right
sure,
now.
sure.
But
Okay.
again, we have to teach people how to do their own forensics. And by
For
having
real.
people like this for real. Because a lot of people are listening to the echo chamber, and yesterday just watching all like Fox News and CNN and NBC, because I tuned into those and seeing what they were saying as well.
Right.
I mean, they show that they're caring and that they're fearful and they're worried for all of us in Hawaii. But, again, even they got to get it right. Even journalism has to be improved, because it's been such a long time of propaganda for the world, that trying to unprogram them from everything that their eyes are fixated on and have been fixated on for, let's just call it, the last 50 years. It's longer, but for many of us who are alive today, that's in that realm. You know what I mean? Like, I'm only 45. So, again, there have been long time anomalies, and people haven't challenged the status quo. And now it's being challenged. And I think that many of us who've been proactive for many, many, many years, as a collective conscious, is bringing that awareness, and which is why we're coming kind of more into the light, because as you know, they already tried to kill me for, exposing the trafficking in Hawaii, in the state of Hawaii.
So yeah, for the folks that have never heard of that, of you, and for what happened to you, I'll just do a quick little spoken recap and then pass the mic back to you. So I met Kalea Kana when she was running for governor of Hawaii in the 2022 election. She was running nonpartisan. And we can get into all that too, because she wants to stand on truth and law and history. And if you really dig deep into the history of Hawaii, you will find out that, like, yeah, the American Republic here, the Democrat Party, the Republican Party, the state of Hawaii as an entity is not technically legit, because this kingdom, country, nation was usurped. And it sucks, being an American. I hate to admit that, our government bombed the Bikini Islands. They poisoned the Tuskegee Airmen with syphilis and their, whatever. Like, this is horrible stuff. But we can't even begin to make things right if we cannot admit, and I didn't do that, right? Anyway, so fast forward, Kalea is married to Joe Akana, ran for Congress twice. Fast forward to this past year, they're doing their charity, trying to help the houseless people there on the island of Oahu. And these criminal thugs, also known as Honolulu Police Department, decided to pick a fight with the wrong lady that day. They unlawfully entered her vehicle. I saw all the different camera angles. She didn't do anything wrong. They had no just cause. They went into the vehicle, whooped her ass with batons, punched her in the face, tased her 4 times. Luckily, she did not die.
It was more than that.
Yeah. So, yeah. And now she's keeping all the receipts, recording all the evidence, like Magesa was talking about, polling the FOIA request, the UIPA for Hawaii. And we got these guys like nailed to the wall with like what the fraud that the HPD is committing and the judiciary, as well as like the prosecutor's office, the public pretender's office, they're all like colluding together to just make this go away and even go on the offense against Calais, accusing her of assaulting an officer, saying that she bit him without permission. Oh shit, we live in a movie. Calais, tell us. Take it from there.
Without permission. I'm sorry, I had to try.
Oh, we got
Hey,
Susie.
Susie.
Susie's in the movie.
Come on,
Susie,
great
it's
job
you.
today, Susie.
That's the most craziest thing I've ever bit with. Can I bite you, please?
It's
my
like I was
God.
in an orgy that I didn't want to be in, and they were taking pictures and recording it from their phone.
Surprise sex,
God.
baby.
The
Oh my
You know, it's
insanity.
like, no, you didn't ask me permission to bite you first, but I punched you in the face, you know, and I tried to yank you from both directions of the Mercedes
Ugh.
Benz that we wanted to take and repo so that we can, you know,
Without
make a
permission.
little bit of cash
It just
flow.
gets better and better, doesn't it? Good
These are the
Lord.
days of our lives.
Oh my God. They're painting themselves in a corner and ludicrousness, that's for sure.
Yeah, so great.
Yeah,
You
go
wanted
ahead.
to say something, Susie? Go ahead.
Oh no, I've just had to chime that in because when you said I said like, oh no, that one just took me over the top. No,
No, but it's true. It's inside of their report. I mean, it's kind of a
Oh, I've been following your case as closely as I'm able to from a distance, and it's I'm so proud of you. I just want to say how proud I am of you, of how you're pushing this forward. It just in battalion that you're just really, and sometimes God selects us to teach other people lessons, even if we don't want the job. And I think you were, unfortunately, when you got the muscle and you got the strength, and in a lot of ways, I say that you were chosen to make an example of this, to teach them a lesson. If you hadn't gone through this horrible, horrible nightmare of an episode, which I wouldn't wish on anybody, and
I don't either.
I'm so glad you're still here with us, and you still have your sense of humor intact. You and Andrew, you guys are so much fun to hang out with anyway. But oh my goodness,
It's the culture.
It's the there you go.
It's the culture.
Love it. Yes, and it's a beautiful, beautiful part, and we just all need to hang on to that because we are going through really serious times. And what you're doing is so powerful because it is part of the takedown. It is part of the exposure, and it is such a vital part because there are people in other islands that are afraid to speak out because they're going through brutality, similar types of brutality, and they're afraid to speak out because of retribution. Or I should say reactionary measures.
Retaliation.
Retaliation. So sorry. Yeah. So it's what you're doing is much bigger than you can even imagine, probably, because it really is part of the takedown. It's part of cleaning house, and it's really spreading. The word is spreading. I just want you to know that from even here, I have people asking me, how are things going? How's Calais? What's the latest? And I would say, oh, jump in on this, jump on that. I know everyone's working, everyone's trying to survive, but the interest is growing out there, and the concern, and it is. I just want to just commend you for all that you're doing, and let you know that you have our full support and our love and our prayers. And it's not an easy thing. It's a very, very horrible thing that you've been dragged into, unwittingly. Mm-hmm. But hey, stay the course, baby, because you're winning.
I mean, they say, first and foremost, thank you so much, Susie. And I mean, that's all we can do is be beacons of light right now. We can take our, the problems that we have, or the challenges that we're facing, and we can create an opportunity to share. I know for a long time we weren't really sharing with a lot of people. It's also why Andrew and I decided that we're going to do a podcast, because there's so much, and we have so much evidence, and we have witnesses, we have all of these different things. But again, it comes from the top down, right? It's the state. What am I to them? Well, I'm probably their worst enemy, but I'm everybody's ally. And it's hard for many people to see, when you're just out and about and you're being yourself. But there are many other stories like mine. There's many stories through the homeless population, which I didn't bring up today, which is how I believe that they're using, they're creating the paper ballots, and they're getting the names, addresses, and social security numbers of people, and they're able to insert them electronically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just another thing that several of us have kind of investigated, and the people that are where I was ambushed at. I mean, they're all going through this, the homeless population, the displaced Hawaiians and non-Hawaiians are going through this. I remember when I was taken to Queens Medical West after being violated and brutalized by the officers. There was another older um Caucasian female, and she was probably, I would say she was like mid 60s. And she was out there outside the emergency room when I was outside waiting. And then she was also in the jail cell next to me when I got taken to Kapolei. And she wanted to be on TikTok. She wanted to be on Facebook. She kept screaming out, police brutality. I want to be on TikTok. Police brutality. I mean, for hours and hours
Oh
and
my gosh.
hours. I think she was in there for 5 hours before she was transported after I got there in a wheelchair. And I had to say at one point, I was like, Auntie, can you just please just calm down just for a little bit? I hear you.
You guys
I'm
mind
here in the
if
next
I invite
cell.
Ralph, by the way? Sorry to interrupt.
No, no. I hope he feels better. He looked like he had a runny nose on today's call.
Yeah, he's probably been working hard on this. I know he's been working hard.
Well, he's been working very hard, and it's nice to see, like you and I, we know a lot of people, Andrew, because we were going around in the 2022 election with Joe, and we know what's happening to BJ. I don't think that that's another thing that I think is
He's not
you-
crazy, folks.
I don't think that people really understand identity theft and how people use other people's,
Yeah, or the state of
identities.
the technology of these state level actors. The CIA can make a fake mask of any one of us, put it on, and like believably fool people in a room that are 2 feet away. They did it.
Oh,
They did it on the
absolutely.
president before, and it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What I like my face, I have no makeup on right now. I mean, it's kind of healing. I might have to do some minor repair work. Part of my tooth fell out last week. It's just like,
Oh,
ongoing
you get
things.
pictures of that too.
Yeah,
That's trauma. That's trauma that
it's so
causes
much
that.
trauma.
If the
Yeah.
tooth fairy is going to pay out, then the state better pay out. HPD better pay out big
Yeah,
time.
charge him for every tooth you lose. That'll be your tooth fairy, right?
Yeah, for real. Show me the money.
But you look great. You look great. In spite of you're radiant, and I can see the healing, and I'm just so grateful for that because it was frightening what you went through. I mean, we were all in complete
Horrific.
disbelief. Yeah,
Well,
it
and
just
for
terrifying.
everyone, an attack on any one of us is an attack on all of us. So
Yes.
everybody watching, listening, share this, spread this, reach out to Kalea Akana, Susie News, Maui Freedom TV. We're just the tip of the spear. There's hundreds more of us here in Hawaii, thousands around the world. And yeah, we have to stand in solidarity against
Absolutely.
this present darkness.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
And we will prevail.
We will prevail. That is
We
the
already
whole-
did. We're just playing it out.
And we're part of the solution, and like Andrew and I, Susie, were talking. I made my life being a marketer. Before I thought I was gonna come home and retire at 38 years old as the Bitcoin queen. And a lot of people here in Hawaii, they don't know my background because I was gone for 18 years, right? I was the go to school, get good grades, go to college, get a college degree, and go work for some big corporation. And I'm so glad that I didn't do it that way. I mean, I did it till I was about 30, but I was in network marketing, and that is very hard. Leadership, being able to help people change their lives financially. There's a lot of responsibilities on, calling yourself a leader or a promoter or whatever. And when I came home, I literally thought I was retiring. I thought I was going to retire on Bitcoin and I was going to be fine for the rest of my life. But the state has a way of getting into
Under your
everything that
skin.
you're in. But yeah, well, and well, they want to be involved in everything. I mean, no means no, and they definitely wanted a pot of that Bitcoin, which is why I know I was targeted. A part of it, I believe, is for that whole thing is that I'm on another kind of level of finance, right? We were talking, Auntie was talking in there about money makes people move, yeah, you can come up here, you can say, oh, you're fired. But if there's no accountability behind that, then people are now just going to go, Scott Nagel will go work for somebody else. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
now he's not, just he kind of got away. And here in Hawaii, they took away the death penalty. The state took the death penalty away at some point. But a lot of people, they're more afraid of being sued. But it's so skewed here because of the length of time that the state's been around. It's like, even we saw on top of the election commission meeting, the deputy prosecuting, or whatever, the deputy, what was his name? The one that she called out, the deputy prosecutor for the election, for Scott
Oh, yeah.
Nago.
Yeah.
He was on there. And, you know, but where are you to actually do something against Scott? You're sitting on all of these calls, you're taking it all in. Where is your report? Like, it seems like everybody has been like DEI hires and they don't have a reporting system. And then when the report is completed, it's inaccurate or it's unfinished. And then, and then you got to wait till the next meeting 3 weeks later. And I think, time is of the essence here. And I think that people like
It
Joe,
is.
for me, I move at light speed. I don't, I'm not here to just sit and count. I don't need if I won for governor in 2026, I wouldn't need a income from that. I would just contribute it to someplace else. Why? Because again, it's just like Donald Trump. You need people in office who understand the whole scope, not just the part that they want to talk about, right? And the fluff that they want to talk about. It's a very, very big deal here in Hawaii. Um, and you need people who are proficient in. I think that our generation, we're proficient in a lot of areas. We don't wear just more than we wear many hats,
Yeah.
and you know what I mean. And so
Yeah.
like we've had to kind of be like, where we were growing up, the 40 by 40 was that, you go work for your golden handcuffs for 20, 40 years, and then you retire, and then they give you Joe Biden in 2020. You know what I mean? Like, it was a shit show.
Yeah, that was a bitch slap, wasn't it?
It was like, yeah, all this life I listened to my adult, my parents and my grandparents, and they told us to go do all of these things. And oh my God, now we can't work and we got to wear masks to work. We got to take shots to work. And if I can't pay the bills, which it goes back down to the money, if you can't pay the bills, you're going to be forced. It's a different way it's not force with a gun to your head. It's force through the quality of life that you have remaining.
Yeah, that was and continues to be a huge wake up call. In some ways, if we hadn't dealt with the nightmare of Joe Biden, I think a lot of people would still be asleep. A lot of people wouldn't be mobilizing. They're so comfortable with the status quo. Everyone's in a comfort zone. And if you want to look at it as a big nightmare wake up call, it certainly was. I was just going to give you a quick update, real quick. The next elections commission meeting, and this is so important because it relates to what you're dealing with too, Calais. And people don't realize how huge this is, because these actions can actually bring down the governor. And that's what we're hoping that this will all lead to. Governor councils that are placed and selected instead of elected. So the next meeting is going to be scheduled for August 27th. And that is out of Mike Curtis's mouth himself, motions and actions relating to the PIG. So this would be the time where we can make recommendations that Scott Nago can be removed. Mike Curtis.
So should Josh Green. I mean, that's like, I mean, definitely we should be recalling Josh Green.
Yes. And if we can, once we have the data out there, we can do that. We can do that. So we just have to have the data presented. And because as soon as those are, put out in hard data, which they're going to make another presentation. I think it's, is it Andrew's PIG committee? They're going to, and he pushed to get that commission read. Or is it Dylan? Sorry, Dylan's. He pushed to have that read at the next meeting, and Mike Curtis was trying to kind of blockade it. But
I was on it to the end.
Yeah.
I was
So
on
you
it till
got. So yeah, disagreed. Yeah. So that next recommendation will be one in a series, and we can keep that momentum going. But the thing is that they keep trying to drag it out meeting after meeting, and we need to have a resolution at the next meeting. They can continue with the pigs, expand the pigs, keep everything in the data, but let's get some of these people out of there now, because that will get us faster momentum towards recalling these elections, because elections need to be recalled.
I mean, all the way to 2020 at very minimum here. I've been home since 2018. I couldn't vote. I mean, I actually never registered to vote. And then the very first time that I was going to register to vote, I was going to vote for Joe and Trump. That's all who
Mhm.
I knew, you know what I mean, at the time as
Yeah.
at that point. And then by 2022, you know, I was watching all the stuff on Dominion, and I was watching, you know, things on the election night of 2020 and seeing the Georgia elections and watched it with my own eyes. The numbers at the bottom of the screen changed and it dropped down 10,000, went back up. But, you know, it was like looking at this and, you know, and I have a mind, you know, in the blockchain and, you know, integrity and, you know, why was I a part of Bitcoin? It wasn't for the money, it was because of the technology. The
Mhm.
blockchain technology fascinated me once I read the white paper. And of course, it led to us building our own patents and things like that, and with other team members and whatever. But that's the other thing. I mean, you can do a mail out ballot with the blockchain, or you can do your paper ballots attached to the blockchain so that it's never altered. Because what I keep on hearing is Scott Nago keeps changing these numbers. And well, yeah, and they sit in their little desks and their buildings and they're protected by security guards and you know, and they'll call the cops on you. So if you don't want to comply to what they want, their little fascist behavior comes out and their little, you know, Farquaad tyrannism
Mhm.
comes out, and then they start. That's also how they censor you, right?
Mhm.
It's kind of like all of these ways that they have had the power for so long. And really, Hawaii is a one party state. It doesn't matter what anybody says. You know, it's
Yeah,
a
the
one party
pedophile
state.
party.
It's really a one. I mean, as much as we want to look at it, there's so much opposition in each other's parties, and it's like it is literally like Days of Our Lives on steroids. You know,
Yeah.
I stay far away. I don't really care to be in. I want to spend time with people like Andrew and yourself. And so when I go in different islands, I'm not there to go see, you know, Tom, Dick, and Harry who's in office. Like all of these people who know this happened to me who hasn't called me yet from
Mhm.
the state of Hawaii, all of these people on the West Coast, you know, they have my phone number. They know that my mission is to end human trafficking and child, you know, sex slavery and all of
Yeah.
that stuff in Hawaii. And these people in my own District 8, they haven't even called me to ask if I was okay.
Isn't that interesting? Talk about true colors.
No,
Yeah. I mean,
it just tells
that's
me like who is on the side for being pono and who's not. It tells me who cares and who doesn't. It's not like you know, we don't have a relationship like I got to be like, "Oh my God," you know, but the reality is I'm 45 years old. I have discernment now. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? I'm not a 20-year-old. You know, in my early 20s and my 30s, I've had a lot of life already. You know, I'm still young. There's a lot of things that I want to accomplish. But,
Mhm.
you know, there's like, you know, you look at them and you're like, don't worry, because when the time comes around, I'm gonna have my moment, right? I'm gonna be able to speak. And that's the thing about what I was doing before is what we're doing now. You know, to train everybody, you had to do Zoom presentations. To train everybody, you might have done a YouTube series, you know, to podcasts and educate people without charging them anything. You know, I've never charged anyone a consulting fee for all the millionaires that I've made in the world on the blockchain,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
so like for me, I can show people how to be millionaires from home in Hawaii. That was, you know, instead of listening to Jill Takuda and Maisie Hirono, that again, I haven't even taken a dollar from the state. You know, I've been here for 8 years almost now. And how do I live without getting paid in fiat currency? Right?
Yeah.
How does somebody live? So like that's part of why I was doing things the way that I was, is because I didn't take dark money. No one can pin that stuff back to me. No one can say, "Oh, what my campaign? I ran my whole campaign without taking any money in. I had more banners and flyers than Josh Green, right?
Yeah.
But nobody knew who I was when I first came back home to Hawaii.
Mhm.
People are knowing me now, and I'm building my credibility based on the fact that I've had to build it through the opposition of the state, who's literally been trying to convict me of something since I've been home to Hawaii to get access to my funds.
Yeah,
That's
and
that's how
the
I
whole
feel
fiat
about it.
dollar is the whole matrix is built on the fiat dollar, and that is the next thing that's going to tumble.
Mm-hmm.
Quite possibly even this year.
Yep.
Is because we have to get rid of it because it's just out of thin air. It's thin air money. We have to have gold and precious metals backed currency, and we will have a crypto attachment with a wallet so that we don't have to have a bank. We don't need a middleman anymore. We can be our own bank, and it'll be unhackable. And I think those things are already they're already installed. I think there's a parallel system running to ours, but it's not until the military decides it's time to put it through, and everyone's got to go through the pains of detaching themselves from the slave mentality of the matrix. And so
Right.
you're
But
ahead
that's
of
where
the
the
curve. And
that
yeah,
that yeah, that's where they're gonna get reparations back. That's what
yeah,
people don't understand. Like, I mean, there's so much in technology people are afraid of and they didn't want to learn from.
hmm
That the magnitude for freedom was there.
yeah,
The magnitude to get away from, and a lot of people don't understand that fiat currency is the human trafficking money.
yeah.
Right? They want to point the finger at Bitcoin. They want to point the finger at Mount Gox. They want to point the finger at. I've never been on the Silk Road. You know what I mean? I've never been on the dark web. I don't know anything about those types of
No,
things.
I don't touch it myself. The
You
dark
know,
web is
but
no.
in actuality, you know, everybody went digital from when we had diners cards.
Diners
You,
cards.
you, you know what I mean? And it literally is a digital reward system now. I'm not a part, I don't believe in
hmm
the World Economic Forum
No,
system.
heavens no.
That's why I don't believe in Josh Green that he's doing right for everybody
No, he's a
or
puppet. He's a
or
Bourgeois
hasn't
puppet.
yeah. And so like when we're looking at those things, when you have so many people who are afraid, there is so much to learn in a short period of time that maximizes, like we were talking about, we can move at light speed. And if you don't
Yes.
have a plan before 2030 and you're still an individual out there in the public, then there's this is called common sense. You're going to jump from one thing to the next thing to the next thing until you find out what fits you.
Yeah, well, we're going to flip, at any given time. I mean, the banks had to be ISO compliant by, I think it was July 1st. They had to be ISO compliant, and those that were not ISO compliant would crumble by the wayside. But you notice the media suppresses all of that information. Not anything like that comes out on the mainstream media. They want to keep people trapped in the matrix thinking and the financial, you can't operate without the fiat dollar. It's
I mean, I'm
fascinating to
I'm I'm living proof since 2012 I've lived like this. And
yeah.
it was scary, but it was exciting. It
hmm
was, bringing people don't understand the blockchain is a network, and you could bring it brings immutability, it brings transparency, it brings all of these
hmm
things. And so like I just had fallen in love with it so much that I went on YouTube, and Facebook was my main medium. And I taught that. And, I'd had 45,000 people at a time on my Facebook lives from time to time, just for discussing it and like training people. And I would give away Bitcoin,
hmm
for people who answered the right questions. And here and I mean, across, Hawaii and in America, there are solutions, but again, nobody trusts the government or the
Yeah.
presented government. And so, when you have people who not only don't know about it, who are in your government, who are like what Andrew's saying, pointing the finger at all the bad stuff that could happen from it. And then you listen back to Obama, who is now going to get, finally, I have
Yes.
not been an Obama fan for a long time.
No.
And, those cases are being opened with Brennan and all of that stuff, and the Clintons, and then it's going to go back to
Finally.
the Bushes. I mean, but this is what I'm saying with the same thing with we have to move with fierce tenacity, which is what is attractive to the people in the public, because people are looking for authenticity. Literally, they're not looking for a guy in a suit anymore. They're looking for people who are like me and you. We're getting on, we're talking about it, we're giving our time, we're giving our energy, you know, and we're the ones that are like showing instead of just saying, yes, we're talking about certain things in a meeting, but just like what you guys want to do with the second pig, you want to be able to present it, not just email it in and just think that Scott Nago and the council is going to be looking at it and then everybody else looks at it. You guys want to have formal bringing of the contextual situation and the matter to it.
Yeah, you got to
And
talk people through it so they have clarity. You know, you've got to talk people through the point by point. Really, it's that important. I don't care if it's a 3-hour meeting. We got to get this stuff handled, and we should be able to make recommendations at least and have actions on that by the next meeting. And I don't know why that couldn't take place.
well, that's why we have to just keep on holding them accountable. It's like
Yeah,
the
got
three
to
of us
hammer.
talking, that's a community. It's a microcosm that's
Mhm.
beginning to start. And then Megeso, he crushed it like he always does.
Yeah,
You know,
he's
he's
great with the
very
statutes, and then I just love that yeah, he just pulls it right out there, you know, and people can look at those statutes, and that's really that his legwork is so invaluable.
absolutely. I mean, it's been invaluable for a lot of us here in Hawaii.
Mhm.
Again, if you're Hawaiian and if you're not Hawaiian, you know, and I support him and what he does. I really admire, you know, I mean, as old as he is, he's definitely a guidance counselor, kupuna counselor, but you know, he's also helped my nephews get their land back. You know what I mean? And so
Fantastic.
it's very, very important that, and again, why should people vote if they don't know what their constitutional rights are?
Yeah, well, and that's the
Right?
thing is they don't have an understanding. I've been ordering books on constitutional law because I feel like we need to all get on board with that information so that we can speak to it with intelligence. Because that's the other thing. I know some law universities are already teaching constitutional law and taking apart the maritime, the admiralty, the Roman laws that they've been teaching on the book. Some of them behind the scenes. So we are going to have a shift over in that as well. And you know,
It's
it's
necessary.
it's so necessary to be able to speak to it, the syntax, and that's another thing that Geso is so good at. You know, you guys might want to
We
bring him
got
on
Ralph
for.
in. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. Hey, Ralph. Well, yeah, and
Let me do a quick little intro real quick. So we got Susie's News down below for the folks who can see the video. We're also now doing a, what do you call it? An X space audio that everybody can listen into. Susie News, how do people follow you online?
Online, I'm on X. I'm actually kind of new to X, so I'm on Instagram. I've been shadow banned fiercely because I was kicked off of Facebook permanently for
Me
posting
too.
truths.
Okay, so
Me
follow
too.
Maui
Truth
Freedom
Social.
TV and we'll connect you with Susie News then.
Thank you, and Truth Social. I'm on that. So three.
Okay, and that's SUZI.
Yes, capital NEWZ, Susie News.
Okay,
And I
and then,
didn't verify myself on X because I just don't see the right to pay them to just justify myself, you know. So I haven't done that. So
I
if people
feel
wonder
you
why I don't
there.
have the check mark, that's why.
Okay, and then we got Kalea Kana on X is under actually Joe Akana.
One.
Joe Akana 1, JOEAKANA number 1. Ralph, are you able to unmute? And can we hear Ralph? He's the Hawaii Elections Commissioner, the people's champion that has gone in there and has shown exactly how the state of Hawaii and the Office of Elections have been making just these egregious mistakes. Ralph, are you able to unmute and kind of give us a little recap after today's meeting real quick? Ooh. All right, we'll work with him. Let me send him a text and see if he's having issues because we're using the Brave browser. Oh, I'm seeing a chat here. What's the name of the deputy prosecutor? Oh, yeah, I don't know the name of the
Susie, what was his name? Susie had mentioned his
You know
name.
what? I didn't write down his name. I've got it in my paper somewhere. I'm so sorry. I
No,
should
it's
have written
okay.
down his name.
But that was from earlier when we were on. We were still on.
Ask to unmute. All right, so I asked to unmute for
Ralph could give it to us.
Ralph.
It won't let me unmute.
Okay, and then, yeah, he might be away from the keyboard. I don't even know how long he was in before. Okay, it says it won't let him unmute. Well,
have him try it with his phone.
Yeah, Ralph, if you download the Brave browser, that might make it easier if you're not on your phone or computer. What's that?
He doesn't even need, if he's on his mobile device, he doesn't even need to download the
Okay.
app. But maybe on his computer, I haven't done it from my computer yet, but on his, I'm on my mobile devices. Whatever link you sent me, it'll open up, you put your name, and at the very bottom, if
Okay.
you request to unmute, he'll be able to do it that way.
Well, I sent it to him via text, which should be on his phone. But Ralph, if you can hear me, I'm going to send this link as well to your email, and then hopefully you can get it on whatever other devices. I just replied to your last email. You should be getting it through my Proton. So hopefully Ralph will be able to unmute.
And by the way, Andrew, kudos to you on launching your podcast here, and congratulations. Just wanted to give you a big plug.
This is your podcast, yours and Calais and Ralph's. Right?
Well,
I'm glad
without
you guys
you,
are on
then
it,
I'll
because
be
then I
there.
don't have to
How's
talk
that?
so much, right? Okay.
I think he's,
Ralph
I think he
popped
was
out.
gonna,
I think he's gonna pop
attempt.
back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also gave him administrator rights. So, but maybe that's what crashed his computer. I don't know. But we'll see if he comes back in. Hopefully we'll be able to get a recap, because I like to hear straight from the horse's mouth, because he's there, he's in the thick of it.
Absolutely.
And how do you feel today's meeting went? Because to me it felt like, all right, we're maybe making progress, but maybe he has a complete different set of performance indicators.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're kind of waiting for him to jump back in, Susie, are you at liberty to give a little bit more about your background online? As we talked, I think I heard something in one of the overheard, face-to-face or phone calls. Susie's got she's got muchness, guys.
Oh, much. You give me way too much credit. I did work for the state government, and I'm not going to go into details, but as a chief analyst for about a decade. I could have stayed longer, but I saw where it was going, and I just wanted to get the heck out of there. And the reason I stayed in that pool was because we could get so much accomplished there, and even more than other higher positions like deputy chief of staff, which I had been offered the position there. Because in that pool, we were able to get a lot more accomplished without the blockades. And so, you kind of stay where you see you can do the most good, and that's really where it's at. And so they did bring an expert out to train me. And that's where the research, really came in handy, especially during COVID when we're all stuck at home. Man, I just dove in head first and just used all those taught skills to just really try to peel back the layers of the onion as much as possible. I've helped draft bills. I've written analysis for bills from all the way to the United States to Congress. So I've been in DC several times, and it's really, when you see it, on the inside, it's pretty startling what goes on there. It's pretty startling. I wouldn't put myself there for anything. It's a pretty dark place. And I also had a consulting business for many years before I relocated to Hawaii in 2007. A lot of political experience. I also was president of back then, because we were Kennedy Democrats. We weren't any other kind. President of Democratic Women for the county that I lived in, which had about 70,000 people or more. And I also chaired the Indian education program for the public schools there for 2 terms. And we really tried to bring accountability through the Department of Education to find money that, for the children that, that were just underserved at so many levels. And we did some really, really fun work there. But I had to go back to DC and have that organization also audited and try to find so there was a lot there's some background there. You could say.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your background, and I really hope that we can be hearing more from you. Are you doing your own podcast as well, or are you just doing posts online? What's your main format?
Just my social media. I'm just
written
out here.
word?
I'm not here to support all of the the great patriots like you guys. I'm just here. I'll just be there to support you as much as I can. I really don't have the commitment or time to really do my own, and I don't really have the interest to personally. I'd much rather support great organizations like what you're doing, Matter Freedom TV and
You
Calais
sound
and other
exactly
people.
like me a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Finally
yeah.
do this podcast. Like, all right, nobody else is doing it
Well, no,
this
it's
way.
vital. Vital. It takes a lot of commitment. But I do travel occasionally, and I do some citizen journalism, and a lot of that got lost on Facebook when I got kicked off.
Deleted.
But we were doing some great work, and so there's people that are picking up that banner and doing some wonderful things. Doge in Hawaii, for one, is doing some wonderful research work, and others. So it's nice to see that continuity. We were also part of the genesis of the GMO movement here in Kauai, which was really exciting to see that go worldwide like
Yeah,
that.
so Bill Gates is trying to release mosquitoes over there too, right? They're trying to build the GMO mosquito labs here and like release them here.
Yeah, I don't know if Bill Gates is actually still walking around in person. We might have the 2.0 out there, but I think that there's a lot of nefarious actions that can take place under the guise of that name. Because he was also a huge globalist and a UN supporter, along with the CCP, who basically had great controlling interest in that. But as a person, I don't think as a person he's really we'll say available for comment. But I think that, and there's a lot of things out there that I think are served to wake people up, and I think that's really important. I think we are in a military operation. I've seen every ounce of data and proof that alludes to that. So I think that a lot of people are getting pulled through this operation as a big wake-up call, and it's a very punishing wake-up call, but that's what it takes to get people off their butts and mobilized in action, for the benefit of humanity, because this really is what this is about. It's like Calais said, it's not about, Democrat or Republican. It's really about the future of humanity is at stake here. And people have to have an active role in that. And they have to see how critical this is. We only get one shot at this, and that's now. We're not going to get another shot at this. So what we do now is incredibly important in holding people accountable, holding their feet to the fire, hammering at things until we can get a breakthrough, because that is what it takes. And of course, being as honest and articulate and not only transparent, but also to make sure we're vetting our own information as best we can. Some you just can't, because that's not going to be out there, but just doing the best you can to vet everything that you put out there so that we aren't deceiving people in any way or giving them false information. I don't want to say false hope or hopium, but at the same time, there's a lot to be hopeful for, but it really rides on us. This operation will wrap itself much faster if everybody gets on board, because it drags out when people are still asleep. They're still in the comfort zone. There's still too much fear, collective fear, and like feeling like futility. I can't do anything about this, because you can. And there's a small group of people across the chain of this archipelago that are doing it. They're doing it, and for a whole ton of people that aren't on board. So, kudos to everyone who's involved in trying to bring truth and transparency. And that's why I, give you guys such a tip of the hat too, because it's a huge operation, and it's a big job when you're having to pull a lot of people along with you that just aren't there yet, or convinced or still locked in that MK Ultra mind thinking that the mainstream media, puts into our heads. And I got to stop talking. So here you go.
No, you're doing great. It takes
You're on fire,
off of me.
sweetie.
I'll handle the tech side. You guys do all the talking. You know what you're talking about. I'm just a loudmouth that can hard eye those guys.
Hey, we need that too. And you're doing good. And you know more than that. Don't beat yourself down now. You give yourself a lot of credit. You've been out there in the field with, getting your boots muddy, man. You're doing the job.
Yeah, it is pretty muddy out there, isn't it?
Yes, it's a swamp.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And who knew? I was like, I'm gonna move to the Aloha State, and
Well, you have to sleep with one eye open.
Yeah, no idea. I was coming into the heart of darkness.
No, that's what they say, is that's your tithing, that you live here is your activism. Really, you do. You sleep with one eye open, and we have from day one.
We sure do.
Especially with the military-industrial complex, how they've just had a chokehold on Hawaii all these years. It's been shocking. Just the things that they've been able to pull off here, and have continued to, up until just recently.
Yeah, until they get some ankle foot.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but the good news is, I think that some of that has been eradicated, removed. Yeah, I think the military-industrial complex is like the CIA. It's on its way out.
Hmm.
You know, it's just
I
we're
mean,
seeing
DC's getting broken up and decentralized, right?
What's that?
Washington, D.C. itself is being broken up and decentralized,
Well,
right?
yeah.
Making
I mean,
all the agencies move to different places.
well, it's not even a sovereign state within the country.
Yeah.
It's its own nation. It's insane. So,
Like
you
the
know,
Vatican, yeah.
everyone that sits on that Congress they're all parts of a board, members of a board that is a corporation that answers to the city of London, you know, the banking industry, and the the crown, and then the Vatican, which controls everything. And they're all run the same way. It's the unholy trinity, you could call it. So people understand, you know, when you vote people in office and they disappear over there, they're not going to listen to you. They're going to do what the chairman of the board tells them to do. And that's been that way at least until 2020. And I think Trump rewrote the Constitution, or did some amendments to it. And so that kind of officially has dissolved. And there was a bankruptcy. I think there were bankruptcy papers that were filed in Florida somewhere around that time. Of course, the media is not going to tell you any of this, but you can go look for some documentation.
I think it was about 2 years ago where
Yeah.
the banks are already started to go insolvent and
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
that stuff.
So central banks is what we're dealing with right now. The removal with this ISO changeover is to get rid of the central banks, all the Rothschild controlled central banks, so that they can crash because they're serving the higher master. They're not serving the people, and they're laundering the money, and they're doing all kinds of crazy things with it. So the central banks are the next thing to go. And then, you know, eventually we'll be dealing with a completely different monetary system where a bank won't really be needed, because we'll be able to be our own banker. We won't need the middleman. We won't need no interest. Interest is actually, you know, it's unconstitutional. I'm still pouring through the books. I'm still trying to read, you know, my spare time to just get as much of my brain as I can, and long ways to go. But yeah, there's so much happening out there that has been completely unlawful. And unconstitutional. So they really subverted it. So we're getting that kind of, it's kind of starting to shift, and we've got some good people at the helm that are really making that happen. And that would be probably the best way I could describe it, would be a military alliance, because there's a lot of countries on board. And if you check flight patterns, you can tell who's on board just by their call signs and what country they're from. So there's a good way to track that. But so we do have an active operation going, thank God. And it's the sad part is a lot of people, especially in Hawaii, because we've all been so traumatized by the military industrial complex, and then I'll shut up, is that it's hard for people to discern between the military industrial complex and the military alliance and what's taking place, unless you really do your due diligence. And I think that's why the bitterness towards the military exists, even though there might be new players coming in with the alliance that are trying to do good, but they're still being categorized as, you know, the bad guys, you know, with the complex. So just want to put that out there.
I'm just tagging Mark Zuckerberg right now on X, telling him we know.
Hey, Andrew, I have to hop off. Joe and I have to go to a doctor's appointment, but Mark Zuckerberg, I'm coming for ya.
You go get him, baby.
Yeah, he's actually on your Hawaiian royal lands, right?
Hey, don't tell everybody that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
sorry,
Andrew.
sorry. Nobody, delete that,
Right.
folks. You didn't hear
It's
nothing.
It's not just mine, but it's just we have Ohana lands, and yeah, he's gotta go. He's gotta go. But
Yeah, so
Joe and I
let's do next week though, Calais, again, 11/11 Wednesday, and then we can do the screen share and start working on the visual of your timeline of Honolulu PD's brutalization of you, and well, the state of Hawaii as well. We could do the prequel, you know, like
yeah, it's supposed to be a protected persons that I'm getting beyond that type of treatment. Let's just put it that way.
yeah.
Oh, well,
Susie, thank you for hopping on.
Loves to you, Calais, and we're
Bless you,
there behind
Susie.
you.
Bless
Stay
you,
in touch.
Andrew.
It's been fantastic.
Take good care.
Yeah,
Hey,
so I'll
guys.
jump off as well
Best to
then.
go.
Aloha.
Guys. Oh wait, let me play my outro video. You guys got to hear this song first.
Okay.
Here, I'll do the screen share as well. See if you can see my screen share. VLC. This one, my dear friend, I don't know if I should mention her name because there's other political punks that don't like what we do. She made this song for me using like AI or something. So then I made like a little intro outro video. This is Hawaii Freedom TV and Maui Freedom TV co-branding. Can you guys see the video feed or no?
No, I can't see it.
No.
So I need to change them up to do this real quick. I mean, it's just a little. I made a very, very simple animation because I ain't got time for that. All right, you guys should be able to see. Here we go.
Yes, we can see.
Tune in, stay strong, the fight for what's right. Tune in, stay strong for the fight. MFTV, 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 shine the truth to light.
Thank you, guys. Did you hear the lyrics?
Good fun. The sound could be tweaked a little, but it's
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm still figuring out this whole thing. But yeah, I mean, she sent me the MP3 and I think it was AI generated, but it was awesome. I got the biggest, dumbest look on my face when she sent me that. You guys both know her, but I'm not going to say her name here on the podcast.
Quite all right.
Yeah, all these rhinos are after her now. All right, love you guys. Thanks so
Love
much.
you.
Looking
Take
forward to
care.
the next one.
Aloha.
Malama pono.
Take good care. Aloha nui.